Good evening. You'll probably notice that our dais is a little crowded tonight, and that's because we're having our board shadows from all the high schools that are here with us. And I'm going to turn it over to your new president, the great Ethan Clemens. Let's give him a hand. Yay.
The Board of Trustees of Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District is now convened in a regular meeting on Monday, April 14th, 2014, in the boardroom of Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District Instructional Support Center, 10,300 Jones Road, Houston, Texas, at 6 p.m. I want to welcome the members of our audience and our television viewers to this meeting of the Board of Trustees. As the Cypress-Fairbanks Board of Trustees, we are here to set goals, listen to reports from the superintendent, approve budgets, contracts, personnel appointments, and make policy for the district. It is not the role of the board to make day-to-day operational decisions. The management and day-to-day operations of the district are the responsibility of the superintendent. We have policies and procedures in place to resolve concerns and issues. This is a public board meeting of the Board of Trustees, not a meeting of the public. Prior to this meeting, board members received information related to items on tonight's agenda. Agenda items will not necessarily be handled in order listed on the notice. The meeting is open to all who wish to attend and hear the matters discussed. During this course of this meeting, the board may determine that a closed session is necessary. In this event, the board will meet in a closed session to consider matters duly posted for this meeting as permitted by section 551.071 to 551.084, inclusive, of the Texas Government Code. These proceedings are airing live on CFTV Channel 16 and CFTV Online on the district website. They will also be rebroadcasting throughout the month on Channel 16 and available as video on demand on the website. For the tape to adequately reflect the proceedings, I respectfully ask that you please refrain from talking while others are speaking, and that the cell phones are turned off or in silent mode. Thank you for taking the time to join us this evening and for your interest in the Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District. Tonight's invocation will be presented by Teresa Hull, Associate Superintendent for Governmental Relations, Communications, and Chief of Staff. Cypress Creek High School JROTC cadets presenting the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance are Stephanie Sanchez, Mark Lefebvre, Sean Heflin, and Trey Simmons. Sponsors, Lieutenant Colonel Timothy Lambert and Master Sergeant Richard Ray. Please stand for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
Please bow your head. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for this community and the value that is placed on education. We are so grateful for the hundreds of volunteers who give of their time and talents to our students and staff. We ask for your blessings for those who find joy in serving others. We also thank you for each student in our district. They are the purpose of this organization, and we know you have placed them in our care for a reason. And lastly, as we do each time we meet, we ask for your protection of our soldiers, comfort for their families, and for peace in this world. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
Board member Kevin Hoffman will read the district's vision and mission statement for the benefit of the audience.
Hi, everyone. My name's Callie McShane, and I'm shadowing Mr. Hoffman, and he has asked that I read the vision and mission statements. So the vision statement is learn, empower, achieve, dream, lead. And the mission statement is the district shall maximize every student's potential through rigorous and relevant learning experiences, preparing students to be 21st century global leaders.
Cypress Creek High School, Montavian Ware Broussard, Isa Grorshinina, Alex Carballo. Jersey Village High School, Joy Travis, and AVP advisor Jenna Bullock, Cindy Stoker. From CLC, we have Barbara Locke here tonight. We will now move on to the special recognitions portion of the agenda. Item 1A of the agenda. The board will recognize students who participated in the board shadowing project. Presenter Kay Pachek. Board shadows will be introduced by their assigned board member, Dr. Henry, Roy Garcia, Roy Sprague, and Marnie Sims.
Mr. Ryan, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Henry, it is my pleasure to introduce to you this evening the students participating in Cyfair ISD's 20th Annual Board Shadowing event. The students in attendance tonight each represent one of the 11 high schools in our district. According to the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills Objectives, understanding how school districts govern is a requirement for the U.S. government course. Tonight's board shadowing event provides students with the opportunity to observe firsthand the functions of the Cypress-Fairbanks Board of Trustees and administrative team. We greatly appreciate our board members and the administrative team for supporting the students of Cyfair in this learning experience. We would also like to thank the families, friends, teachers, and administrators who came here tonight to support these students. Please stand so that we may show our gratitude through applause. Thank you. This board shadowing event reflects the strong partnership that bonds Cyfair stakeholders in providing one of the most memorable learning experiences for our students. We are very proud of all that these students have accomplished. Thank you.
I think at this time we're going to introduce our shadows, and so why don't we start down here with Mr. Covey? Or wait, with Mr. Sprague, Roy.
I'm going to be the first one. Well, it's my distinct honor to be able to introduce to you Dorio Francisiosi. Did I say it correctly? Close. I've been trying to practice that, and I've struggled with it. Being from New Orleans, I had a little trouble with that name. He is a senior at Cy Springs High School, and he is interested in architecture, so we had a wonderful conversation during our dinner and talking about architectural education and the process he would have to go through to be educated and pass his registration exam. He wants to attend the University of Texas in Arlington, and they have a great architectural school. He's going to go to Lone Star College first, and then from there transfer to UTA. So it's exciting to see he'll take advantage of our Lone Star College system. He definitely wants to be an architect. He's very interested in the design side of our projects, and I told him I'd be happy to mentor him at one of our projects that we have under construction. So we will make arrangements to give him a tour of one of our facilities out there during construction so he can get a real live example of a project in progress. His favorite sport is soccer. He also said his favorite course is history, and he's also participated in theater, and I would like to go ahead and welcome him. And we have a fine young man here, and I know the future of architecture is going to be in great hands when he completes his education and gets his registration. So welcome.
Thank you. I'd like to introduce Christian Kimball from Cypress Creek High School. Christian is a product of Cy-Fair Schools, going to Moore Elementary, Hamilton Middle School, and Cy Creek. Christian has two sisters, one that's older and one that's younger. His mom and dad are here, not here tonight, but they are very involved in his life, and he tells me he wants to go to Texas A&M and study political science. I asked him, did he lean more liberal or conservative? He said he has both sides in his family, so he's kind of in the middle at this point in time. And I thought that was interesting because he's into speech and debate, that's his main thing, and wants to be in political science. So he likes interpretive and public speaking. He does some acting, it was a lot of fun to meet him. I did find out that his father is in martial arts and has a second-degree black belt, and my understanding is Christian really follows the rules at his house, basically out of fear more than anything else, I think. So he's a fine young man, and he's going to be, it's great to think that we'll have somebody of his caliber in the political arena someday. That would be wonderful. Christian Kimball.
It is my distinct honor to introduce the fabulous Catherine McShane from Cy-Fair High School, a senior who is going to be attending the Savannah College of Art and Design. She's going to be majoring in fashion design, and that's why I said, why don't you stand up and show them how fabulous you are? That's why I'm telling you how fabulous she is. Dynamic young lady. Her parents are right over here, Tim and Rebecca. Thank you for coming. She is a great person. We had a great conversation during dinner. She plays soccer, or has played soccer, and is moving on. She's a baby girl in her family, and so she's going to be the last one out of the house. We're all really proud of her and are looking forward to some exciting things in the future from Catherine. Thank you.
Hi, I'm excited to introduce Monique Harrington. She attends Cy Lakes High School. And been a great time getting to know Monique. We've had a lot of fun. I can already tell she's a spitfire and she's spunky. I love that she even said she stands up against the kids maybe at school that are, maybe not being so nice to someone else, and she will put the word on them. And I said, I love you. She is going to attend Texas State University.
You know what, kids?
I knew that was coming, and major in business administration. And with all of the AP classes and dual classes, all dual credit classes and everything, I know she's probably already a sophomore. So I know she's going to do great things there, and I'm so excited that she's my shadow tonight. Thank you. Monique Harrington.
It's my honor to have a senior from Cy Woods High School with me today, Adam Ficalora. And Adam is involved in many activities. He's in band, and he's excited. He says he doesn't have senioritis yet, but he's getting close to that. And get this, he's been accepted to Texas A&M University, and he's not only been accepted, he's already made the band. So he's going to be in the band at Texas A&M University. He's already in the corps at Texas A&M University, and he's going to major in supply chain, which is a huge field right now in our country. Andrew has a freshman brother at Cy Woods, and he says it made me feel good having two sons. He really talked highly of his little brother, said his brother's a great athlete, and he's really going to do some special things. And, there's nothing like having a great big brother, and I think that really is what impressed me most about Andrew. But it's my honor to have Andrew shadowing me today.
I am both tickled and proud to introduce my board shadow for the evening, Isaiah Carter of Langham Creek High School. Tickled because talking with him brought back memories of being a band dad at Langham Creek for 8 years, but also proud of his many accomplishments. Last week, Isaiah had to choose between attending a performance or going to a political celebration at a presidential conclave, which featured 4 presidents in Austin. He chose to help lead his band on their 3rd trip to the highly respected Midwest International Convention in Chicago, where, on the French horn, he performed a solo in the piece Eulenspiegel by Strauss. He was all-state on the French horn and performed at TMEA in Austin. He was part of the marching band for all 4 years, and his favorite show was One Thing Leads to Another. And before we talk about connecting the dots, which is a major part of how he thinks, we should recognize that Miss Adams is here, as well as Mr. Hughes. His mother is watching on television live. I spoke with her just before she boarded a plane to go out of town on a trip. She's flying into Ohio, but chose not to rent a car and drive to West Virginia so that she could watch the performance tonight. Earning All-State honors was a bit more difficult for Isaiah since he was drum major during the fall season and he had to swap his French horn for a baton. The Harvard Business Journal reminds us that technical high achievers rarely become leaders. Isaiah has either proved Harvard wrong or he is that very rare exception. In addition to being drum major, he's also student body president of his senior class. I asked him if the role of being senior president was daunting. He noted that he had practiced since he was president of his junior class and also his sophomore class. His drive for leadership has led him to be president of the Rotary International Club, and as a junior, he was elected to represent Langham Creek at Boys State in Austin, where he was almost elected governor. He was a nominee for Boys Nation, and once again chose to fulfill his duties and responsibilities as drum major instead of going to Boys Nation. As you know, presidents of our country emerged from this program. He will return as a counselor to Boys State this summer, and he noted that losing was cathartic for him and helped to put part of his life in perspective. As you would expect with any of our individuals up here, they're all very talented. He's a member of the National Honor Society, the Spanish Honor Society, a UIL scholar, and he is a National Achievement Scholar. In between band and studies and some of his other hobbies and activities, working out at the gym, this past year he contributed over 250 hours volunteering at the Houston Zoo. I am known for asking questions, and so this time was no different. I called up his teachers, and so I interrogated them. Actually, I think my questions are insightful and pleasing, but others may think differently. His nominating teacher, Mr. Dwyer, notes that he is a political hound dog digging beneath the surface for answers and constantly seeking better understanding. Another observed that he had the heart of a mountain climber, never stopping until he has reached the pinnacle. He believes that through leadership, he has an opportunity to serve people and give back. And certainly serving on the board is one way of doing that. In the fall, he will be attending the University of Texas in Austin on an honors academic scholarship. That means a full ride. He is currently undecided about being part of the Longhorn Band, but he has no doubt that he will go to law school as part of his graduate studies. So please help me honor and welcome Isaiah Carter.
Good evening, everybody. I am so proud to introduce Kristen Malvo. She is a senior at Cy Ranch. She has an older sister, and her mom works in the district at Jersey Village High School. She started at Post Elementary, then went to Robinson, Spillane, and Smith, and landed up at Cy Ranch, which she has really enjoyed. She also teaches at Sunday school at Wheeler Baptist Church. She's very active in her schools. She's been part of Social Studies UIL, the Book Club, National Honor Society, Orchestra, and Young Justice, which is a group that looks at all kinds of situations and sees if they can help the right people get the attention they need and the corrections that they need. And she's very interested in public health, and I asked her why, and she said that she has lots of allergies, and she kind of developed a real respect and relationship with her doctor because he was so good about helping her solve that problem. And to her, it occurred that there's lots of issues about disease and allergies and all kinds of things that we need to research, and that's what she wants to do. Now, she does have a backup plan. She might be a public health lawyer. And so I asked her about that, and she said it might mean representing pharmacy companies and other kinds of companies that are involved in public health. A very interesting young woman. She also works at HEB in Fairfield as a cashier. She's very busy, very dedicated, very poised, and I know that she'll be a success at anything she wants to do. Please help me welcome Kristen Malvo.
It is my distinct honor and pleasure to introduce Cameron Gagne, who is a senior at Jersey Village High School, and he has been in the Cy-Fair School District throughout his public school years. He went to Gleason, then went to Cook, and he spent all 4 years at Jersey Village High School. His favorite subject is history. In fact, he's planning on going to Lone Star College for 2 years, and then he'll leave there and go to Texas A&M University. He has this distinction this year during the football season. He was the Fox 26 Athlete of the Week. He's active in Fellowship of Christian Athletes and very active in his school, in his church, St. Maximilian Catholic Church there in the neighborhood. So I am so happy to have Cameron here. Would you give him a great welcome tonight?
Good evening. It is an honor to introduce my shadow for the evening as well, Ingrid Zacharias. A little bit about Ingrid. She is a senior at Winfern High School. I say a senior, actually she will be graduating early, and I'll tell you more about that. She has an option. Either she will graduate a full year early or a semester early. But before that, I can let you know that she attended Wilburn and Francone Elementary, also Kayla Middle School, where she ran cross country and also played basketball. She did attend Cypress Springs High School for a year, where she was on the tennis team, and then Langham Creek. And when I asked her about Langham Creek, one of the things that she remembered more than anything else was her auto tech class. So very exciting opportunities throughout. As I mentioned before, she now attends Winfern High School. When I asked her about Winfern, she's just so excited, and the first thing she shared is just, it's like a family. When I asked her what was her favorite class, it's math. And I said, okay, tell me your least favorite class. She says, I don't have one. I like them all. So that was pretty impressive. When she's not in school, she loves to play the piano. She also plays the violin and the trumpet. She loves crafts, and she also loves sports as well. She has 2 brothers and 1 sister, and she is the youngest in her family. Plans upon graduation, she is going to start at Lone Star College and then will enroll in the University of Houston to be an architect. So Roy, we've already talked. I think we've got a plan, an opportunity for these 2 young students to see our newest school being built now so they can see a little bit behind the scenes of what takes place. The part that I wanted to share about Winfern and the thing that was so, I guess, touching for me is that, Ingrid's plans were not to attend Winfern High School until this past November when her father suffered a stroke. The reason that she decided to go to Winfern was not for herself, but for her family, so she can finish early and help take care of her father. So it was just impressive to learn about this servant leader, and so glad that she is here with me tonight to assist me with my duties throughout the board meeting. So please join me in welcoming Ingrid Zacharias.
Hi, good evening. I am introducing my shadow, Lisa Strong, that Linda Macias and I are sharing, and Linda being the meticulous one. She's got more of the information in the notes, but we had such a good time visiting, and she had some unique things that I wanted to share that we learned. But Lisa is the 7th of 8 children, all Cy-Fair students. She's got 1 younger sister who's at Libi. But for a while, there were strong siblings every 2 years that matriculated through Owens, Libi, and Falls. So just that exact same feeder pattern. Her mom has the volunteer station named after her in Owens after 25 years of volunteering. That's how long it took her to get all of her children out of Owens Elementary School. And she still goes back and helps with the hearing and vision screening. And I will tell you, they can say it's hard work, and it is hard work, but there's something about this gene pool. Her 6 of her prior siblings, you're 6, she's going to UT Austin in the fall. She'll be the 6th. She is going to be a biochemistry major, do some research. Her older sister is there right now as a medical engineering with honors, and she's summa cum laude, and there's just something about genes. So I was just and hard work when you combine it. So clearly we were just very impressed and enjoyed visiting with Lisa. And this little thing right here plays the tuba in the marching band. And I asked her, "Do you weigh as much as the tuba?" And she said, "You would not believe how many people ask me that." and the tuba literally only weighs 10 more pounds than she does. But anyway, and she is captain of the bowling team, so not just a leadership person, but also quite the bowler. 4 years as All-State in bowling. She gave me some tips while we ate, so the poor thing had to give me bowling tips and answer some questions about, what do you think this is from a, biology standpoint. So we thoroughly enjoyed it, but Linda actually has the important stuff. She actually asked the good questions. But I couldn't, the marching band and the tuba and the 25 years volunteering was too much to not mention.
I asked the educational questions, but you won't be surprised to learn that that her favorite subject is chemistry. And as Marnie shared, she will be attending UT in the fall and majoring in biochemistry. And her goal is to be a researcher, so we won't be surprised when Lisa finds cures to all these different diseases that are out there. I asked her about what club she was involved with, and she shared with me National Honor Society, Science National Honor Society, Math National Honor Society, pretty much any honor society out there, Lisa is involved in. She is also a member of the book club and the senior women. So Marnie and I were both very honored to get to know Lisa. So please help us welcome Lisa Strong.
Marnie talking about genes. My parents have been blaming genes on me for a long time.
It works both ways.
Exactly. Good evening. I've kind of introduced my board shadow, the great president, Ethan Clemens. As we were eating, and I told him, I said, "Ethan, I'm gonna have you run the meeting." I said, you think you're going to do okay? I mean, you're kind of nervous. I know it's big, a big deal. And he said, no, not really. He said, I've kind of watched you and do some of your meetings. He said, it can't be any worse than that. I said, well, that's pretty much a valid point. And then as the board shadows were being introduced, he tapped me on the leg and said, hey, why don't you run down to Connie's and get us some custard? He goes, I got this thing knocked out. Okay, man. No way, Ethan. Ethan is an awesome young man. I do want to introduce and have them stand from Cy Ridge. We have Mr. Dixon. Ms. Monkla is his economics teacher, and Mr. Curtis was his government teacher. And I'll read some comments that they made about Ethan in just a minute. Y'all can sit down. This is in church. And your mom's here? Where's your mom? Oh, you getting this on film? Okay, you can. They'll give you a copy of it. It'll be fine. Ethan really loves everything to do with computers. He grew up in our district. He went to, I think, Bang and Emmett, and then most of his middle school years were at Blythe. And now he's a senior at Cy Ridge. And as I mentioned, he loves everything to do with computers. He loves tearing them apart, putting them back together. He's got a great hourly rate of like $85. He just wanted me to mention that in case you want help. Just come up after the meeting and get one of his cards. But he is going to go to the University of Houston after graduation and major in computer engineering?
Yeah, hardware computer engineering.
Hardware computer engineering. And then after that, he wants to get his PhD in that field and advance his education. And so I think he's got a really, really bright future. But I think the people that said it best are those that are with him on a daily basis. And I emailed Ms. Monkla, and this was her response to me. It says, I am delighted to tell you about Ethan. He was the first choice of both the government teacher he had last semester, Mr. Curtis, and myself. In government, he was selected by his party as their presidential candidate and won the mock election. Mr. Curtis said he did a wonderful job of organizing the other members of his, quote, party and presenting the party platform in a convincing manner. Ethan discovered his freshman year in communications applications class that he enjoyed presenting in class and is very comfortable in front of an audience, which we've seen tonight. He loves anything related to technology. He said he has broken enough computers to figure out how they work and enjoys the process of learning from his mistakes, at least with computers. He is a positive young man with great integrity and work ethic. Mr. Curtis and I expect great things from him after high school and beyond. I'm confident he will enjoy and learn a great deal from this opportunity. P.S. Don't forget to vote for my pay rate. Go. Sorry, Bev. Slip that one in there. So please join me again in welcoming Ethan Clemens tonight, and he will continue on with the meeting. He's doing a great job. Oh. But then I talked to his principal, Miss Michelle, and Ethan didn't know this part was coming. And she said, if I may, please ask Ethan how he made himself look so sharp for his school picture this year. This is a kid after my own heart. Once you hear this, go ahead and tell him.
Well, the day of pictures, picture day, me and a friend of mine from second period English class decided that we were going to switch our, I guess they're like little cards that, they have your name on it. And if you switch them, it's basically, your position in the yearbook and, where your picture is going to be. Well, the friend that I switched my car with was a Caucasian, a Caucasian friend, and of course me, I'm African American, and every time I go into a class, my teacher's like, Ethan, did you know that you are white? And you know that? And I'm like, no. I'm sorry. When did that happen? I just didn't get a tan that weekend, so it was, but yeah, Miss Michelle, I actually pulled a really bad trick on Miss Michelle and her assistant when I went in there. She was like, is that your board member? And it was like, is that the shadowing? And she was like, she's like, yeah, I think so, Ethan Clemens, right? And I was like, yeah, I'm that. And she was like, I don't know. He doesn't look like the picture I saw. She didn't want to hurt my feelings, but it's okay. I put on some weight.
Obviously, he's going to do great things. You can't teach that stuff. It's through the genes, Marty. It's through the genes.
You've made my point.
All right. Now that we've had our fun, let's move on to agenda item 1B. The board will recognize Darcy Magnolia, CFISD Board Trustee, for being awarded the Outstanding Woman Award, Education Honoree by the American Association of University Women, North Harris County Branch. Presenter, Mark Henry. Agenda. Oh, that's it. Okay.
Okay. CFISD Board of Trustees member Darcy Mongoya was recently recognized by the North Harris County branch of the American Association of University Women as the Education Honoree at the 2014 Outstanding Women Awards Luncheon. Darcy was one of 2 award recipients recognized at this luncheon. The AAUW looks for someone with a long-term commitment to education, and Darcy Mongoya certainly fits that bill. Darcy was an active member of the Cyfair Educational Foundation for 19 years, where she and her husband Bob have a scholarship endowment. In addition to that endowment, Bob and Darcy also have numerous endowments through the Lone Star College Foundation. Her work with the Cyfair Chamber included education-based initiatives such as the creation of Channel 16, the CFISD Public Access Television Channel, the campaign to create Lone Star College Cyfair, and the adoption of the Freeport exemption by the CFISD Board, which provides a tax incentive to attract and retain manufacturing and storage distribution facilities. I can tell you that Teresa Hull and Tom Jackson and myself all attended the luncheon that Saturday, and we were honored to be a part of her celebration that day. And Darcy, I congratulate you on behalf of the school district.
Hey, before we move on, and I just see her in the audience, so I need to recognize one of our former superintendents, Pam Wells, and her husband Jim, who was a principal in our district, are here tonight. If you guys would stand up.
Agenda item 1C. The board will recognize Bobby Cunningham, Cypress Springs High School, for being named the Texas State Teachers Association, TSTA, Education Support Professional, ESP, Advocate of the Year for her outstanding service to students and staff. Presenter, Roy Sprigg and Tammy Blankenship.
Thank you. Members of the board, Mr. Ryan, and audience, it's our honor to recognize Bobby Cunningham, and I'm going to ask Tammy Blankenship to come in and do the formal presentation.
Thank you, Roy. Board of Trustees and Dr. Henry, I'm proud to be here tonight to honor one of our own who has won the prestigious Texas State Teachers Association Education Support Professional Advocate of the Year Award. The TSTA Education Support Professional Award recognizes outstanding accomplishments and reflects the contributions of educational support professionals to their schools, communities, and profession. The award is presented to the winner at the TSTA annual national and state conventions. If you'll recall, about a year ago, I stood up here and I talked to you about the operations department, who we are, what we do, and most importantly, I talked to you a little bit about why we do what we do. And if you'll recall that time, I had read a letter to you from a student at Cy Springs High School whose life had been changed by a hero. That hero is Bobby Cunningham. Not only has Miss Bobby made a difference in the lives of the students and staff of Cy Springs High School, she has been a loyal employee of the district for 30 years, of which she has been at Cy Springs High School for 17 years. Bobby was a Spotlight Award winner and also Employee of the Year Award winner. Bobby, would you please come up here? Bobby's family and friends are here. Derek is here. Derek also worked in the operations department for a number of years. He's very proud of his wife. They've been married for 34 years. Bobby, it is with great pride that we of Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District recognize this award, Texas State Teachers Association Educate Support Professional Advocate of the Year Award in honor of your outstanding service to students and staff of Cy Springs High School. You are a hero that has truly made a difference in the lives of our students and staff. We honor you tonight for this great accomplishment, and thank you, Bobby, for your service. Come up here.
Agenda item 1D. The board will recognize Texas Association of Partners in Education TAPE Crystal Award winners. Presenter, Leslie Francis.
Good evening, President Ryan, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Henry. Tonight, I am proud to present to you the following Volunteer and Business Partner State Award winners from the Texas Association of Partners in Education. CFISD competes against districts in Texas with well-defined business partnerships and programs involving many volunteers, so the competition at the state level is challenging. The state awards were presented during the TAPE Awards Luncheon at the Texas Association of School Administrators Midwinter Conference on January 28th in Austin, Texas. The following two nominations received the highest award, the Crystal State Award. The first award I'd like you to recognize is the Academic Impact winners, Calvary Community Church and Copperfield Church. Jeff McGee from Calvary and Ann Aguilar from Copperfield, if you would please stand forward. These two churches' mission is to make sure that every child has the opportunity to graduate from high school and attend some form of higher education if desired. Their goal is to support the needs of both Haregrove Elementary and CFISD. These two churches donate school supplies, backpacks, provide bus buddies, serve as weekly mentors, provide food assistance for at-risk families, host clothing drives, provide gifts to students and families during the holidays, volunteer at events and community beautification efforts. Since the adoption between these two churches and this school, Haregrove has become a Title I high-achieving campus and has seen an improvement in test scores. It is clear that Calvary Community Church and Copperfield Church have made a world of difference in the lives of Haregrove students, staff, families, and community. If there are any additional members present tonight from either of these churches or Hare Grove Elementary, please stand so we may recognize you also. The second award I'd like you to recognize this evening is for the Holbrook Elementary Watchdogs, Dads of Great Students. Yvette Garcia, Principal of Holbrook, and Pamela Hansborough, Volunteer Coordinator, if you would both please step forward. Holbrook Elementary adopted the Watchdogs program to invite fathers to volunteer in classrooms and positively contribute to the school community. Because many of the students at Holbrook come from single-parent households, the program's goal was to encourage fathers of students to volunteer at their child's school and to help promote a positive, safe learning environment. With 90% of Holbrook students receiving free and reduced meals, school administration felt this program could have a positive impact on the school. By the end of the year, 65 fathers had volunteered either a half day or a whole day, some even volunteering multiple days. It is important to note that before this program was instituted, only one father had volunteered during the previous school year.
Wow.
Office referrals and complaints regarding car rider safety both decreased. Watchdogs has indeed had a positive impact on Holbrook Elementary. If there are any additional members present tonight from Holbrook Elementary or the Watchdogs program, please stand so we may recognize you.
Agenda item 1E. The board will recognize junior achievement of Southeast Texas for developing and facilitating the JA Inspire program for all Cypress-Fairbanks ISD 8th grade students. Presenter, Linda Macias.
President Ryan, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Henry. It is my pleasure to present to you this evening an organization that hosted JA Inspire, Houston's first and largest event that engaged all CFISD 8th grade students, including my sister, all 8,000 of them, in a job awareness fair at the Berry Center on February 3rd and 4th. That organization is Junior Achievement of Southeast Houston, and joining us this evening representing Junior Achievement of Southeast Houston are Rick Frank, President of JA, Jennifer Anderson, Executive Vice President of Education for JA, and Jan Payton, Vice President of Business Development for JA.
If y'all will come forward, please. Junior Achievement orchestrated an opportunity for our 8th graders to interact with business representatives, view displays, and hear presentations from 50 businesses from Cyfair and the greater Houston area. Students learned about the skills and education required for these jobs and were encouraged to develop individual career maps through materials and instruction provided by Junior Achievement. They, along with Susan Firth, our Director for Advanced Academics, are already planning next year's event, which will be a 3-day event instead of a 2-day event. Thank you, Junior Achievement, for the wonderful experience you provided for our 8th grade students. If there are any friends or anyone else who was involved in the J Inspire event, please stand to be recognized, and I know there are people in here. Where are you? Yes.
Hey, real quick, because I missed something else. Dr. Levy, Didn't know you were here. President of Lone Star College Cy-Fair, a great partner for Cy-Fair ISD. Thank you for being here tonight. I know you're here for Darcy. Thank you. Actually, I wanted to say something, but Ethan's like, hey, dude, step back, okay? I mean,
I got this.
I got this.
All right. Item 1F, the superintendent will make remarks and announcements including the honors and achievements earned by staff and students in recent weeks. Presenter, Mark Henry.
Howdy. In addition to the Texas Association of Partners in Education. In addition to the Texas Association of Partners in Education state award winners, we recognized earlier tonight we had a few other partnership awards for 2013 and 2014. The Individual Role Model Award was awarded to Laura Muscarello. Jim Hatfield of Northwest Dodge was awarded the Individual Partnership Advocate Award. The Business Partnership Academic Impact Award went to Caldwell Companies. The Community Partnership Health Award was awarded to Harris County MUD number 167, and the Partnership Program Innovation Award was awarded to Houston Methodist Hospital. The Cy-Fair Federal Credit Union, recently announced 2 major communities to CFISD and the surrounding community through their new Community Only Better initiative. They pledged 1,000 volunteer hours by their employees during 2014, as well as $500,000 in direct support to the community, which includes CFISD over the next 10 years. Academics meet. Cy Woods won the District 17 5A Academic Spring Meet with Lane Creek placing second and Cy Ranch third. TFA Speech and Debate Tournament. The Texas Forensics Association, TFA, Speech and Debate Tournament was held at Cy Creek. The event included more than 2,200 students and coaches from 217 schools. Athletics. Soccer. In boys soccer, Jersey Village won district with Cy Springs second and Cy Lakes third. In girls soccer, Cy Creek was the district winner with Cy-Fair second and Cy Woods third. Jersey Village, Cy Springs, and Cy Lakes boys, Cy Creek, Cy-Fair, and Cy Woods girls also won the Region 3 5A by-district playoff games. Cy Springs and Cy Lakes won the Region 3 5A area playoffs and quarterfinals to advance to regional semifinals. In golf, Cy Ranch won the District 17 5A Team Golf Championship, and Cy-Fair placed second. Cy-Fair girls won first in district, and Cy Ranch placed second. All 4 teams advanced to regionals. In tennis, Cy Ranch boys and Lane Creek girls each won first place in the District 17 5A tennis tournament. Cy Ranch also won district titles in mixed doubles and boys doubles. Lane Creek won district titles in girls doubles and boys singles events. Congratulations to our awesome students and staff and volunteers. These names and achievements will be recorded in the official minutes of the meeting. We recently selected a new principal at Cook Middle School. I'll now turn it over to Ray Garcia for the introductions.
Thank you so much. President Ryan, Board of Trustees, tonight we are excited to introduce our new principal for Cook Middle School, Miss Maggie Wiley. Ingrid will assist me with this. Ingrid.
All right. Ms. Wiley received her Bachelor's of Science and her Master's in Education from the University of Houston. Ms. Wiley has 18 years in the education profession. Before joining Cypress-Fairbanks, she served as a secondary teacher at Clear Brook High School for 3 years. Her 15 years in Cy-Fair IC have been at Cypress Creek High School, where she has served as a teacher, director of instruction in helping teachers and assistant principal, and as the director of instruction. For the past 7 years, she served as the associate principal. When Ms. Wiley is not working, she enjoys spending time with her 2 children who both attend Adam Elementary. Her daughter, Carson, is a 4th grader, and son, Cade, is a 1st grader. Both children have been a part of Cypress-Fairbanks' system since they were 3 months old, when they started at the Early Learning Center. Please join me in congratulating Ms. Wiley and her new leadership assignment.
President Ryan, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Henry, thank you. As I look around this room at all of the many people who make up the Cy-Fair community, and I listen to one story after another of the success and celebrations that occur throughout our district each day, I am honored and blessed to be able to continue my professional journey here in Cy-Fair and be a part of the Cy-Fair family. I do what I do for my family, and I also do what I do because of them and the support that they provide for me. And I have Cade right here, my little one who's getting anxious, Carson and Lane. And so again, it's just a great honor to continue to serve in that capacity. And I would be remiss if I didn't also take this opportunity that as a part of this district, there's so much support and encouragement to develop the leaders, and I hope to continue that. And I am the leader I am today because of that man over there, Mr. Wells, who just loves attention. But over the last 12 years has served as my mentor and has helped guide me into making the person that I am today. So again, want to thank him for his support over the years, and just again, thank you for this opportunity.
We're going to take a 5-minute break. Any board member may make a comment during this portion of the agenda without prior posting being required. Comment items may not pertain to the character of any student, staff, or board member, and may not be discussed or deliberated upon this time.
Our first speaker is board comments.
Oh, Dr. Overtree?
Ms. McGoy is going to go. Okay.
okay.
Darcy.
I just wanted to mention a very impactful experience that I had at the National School Board Association Conference. Had an opportunity to listen to Magic Johnson, and what he said was very important. He said, "All my valuable lessons I learned in public education." And then he went step by step through his grades, told us what teacher, what counselor, or what principal made an impact on his life and taught him lessons that he needed to know for his basketball career and for his life in general. And I thought it was most impressive that someone would reflect back and know the names of those teachers and the names of those counselors and the names of those principals. And I thought there couldn't be anyone that was more of an advocate for public education, and I was very impressed with everything he said. And so I challenge all of you guys to think about those people in your public education experiences that have impacted you, and thank them the way that he thanked his teachers and counselors and principals.
I echo Dorsey. Magic Johnson's presentation was phenomenal and really made you proud of not just his life, but public education and impact that the teachers had and counselors had on his life. Also, Ryan and I reflected that we heard the Watchdog success tonight. Several years ago at a National School Board convention, he and I attended the presentation there and talked with Dr. Anthony and about bringing that and introducing it here into Cy-Fair, and it's great to see once it was introduced, it's now being implemented and making quite an impact in the lives of students. So we're happy about that. I happened to attend to another great father and event at Cypress Springs High School. They had for the first time a father-son breakfast, and it was a standing room only. An outstanding speaker. It was just quite a moving event that morning, and I applaud them. Lastly, 41 years ago, I married my high school sweetheart, Evelyn, on this day. And but for this meeting, I would be somewhere spending money. But I had to tell her that the students of this district my duty calls me, and I am glad to be here tonight. And I just want to say Hello, sweetheart.
Thanks, John. Jackson?
It's been all this time. I hope I didn't say anything inappropriate. As usual, I made any number of stops on behalf of the district, a couple of stops involving Lone Star College. This is a partnership that continues to grow and prosper, and it needs to be one to constantly to be nurtured. One of the stops was a fundraiser hosted by my colleague, Ms. Mingoya. She forced me to turn all my pockets out before I could leave the location. I left much poorer, but I'm pleased to say that she turned the same treatment on the good Dr. Henry, and so he also left much poorer than he came. I visited with the good folks of Cyfair Federal Credit Union at their annual meeting, and as I am wont to do wherever I go, I ask people, what do you think of the upcoming bond election? I think it's always important that we as trustees hear from all of our constituents. I also was quite pleased to attend the one-act play. I did my best stand-in performance of Mr. Covey, who has never missed one until this year. It certainly warmed my heart to hear the words of Rostan come alive on the stage. Oddly enough, the Chronicle in this morning's paper noted a survey of CEOs across the country, and what they valued most was not STEM, but the ability of employees to bring creativity. And certainly that is something that our fine arts program constantly strives to do. I made a couple of stops as well with the Chamber of Commerce, heard Peter Houghton opine on real estate and the coming future. His comments are always valuable, and I, as I do with others, always ask his advice, as I have asked advice of others, and his counsel was good. I would also mention that I too attended seminars trying to further educate myself, one of which I attended with Dr. Ogletree, the Texas Fellows Institute. Their message is always the same: appropriate board governance coupled with appropriate metrics can lead to higher educational attainment and better education for all children. At the National School Board Convention I attended, one of the new hot topics was a study of systems. I have to tip my hat to the board members who were here before I came on the board, because in the face of strong vocal opposition, they voted to approve a contract to review the systems of this district. Systems review is always warranted, and it always brings a good harvest. So a little tip of the hat to the three of you all for having voted in that fashion. I also continue to make my school rounds. I visited Langham Creek and as well as Truett and also Cy Creek. I was pleased to see that the babies of our children are being well cared for as their parents, our students, continue their education, as well as technology being present in both our life skills classes as well as our class for special needs students. I read the CIPs wherever I go, and I notice the opportunities that present themselves, but I couldn't help but recall the goals where every child, every student should be part of an extra or co-curricular activity. Already knew the reason why, but I love to see the idea embraced. In addition to increasing the number of students that perform at the highest level, we have a challenge here to serve all of our students at all levels. And so I tip my hat also to the principals, the administrative staff, teachers, and employees at these 3 schools. Thank you.
That's me.
I wanted to highlight another one of our speakers at the National School Board Convention, and that was Thomas Friedman. I actually learned more about Thomas Friedman teaching my course at Lone Star College. And he talks about in his book that the world is flat and how this happened. And it talks about global economy, the globalization of the economy and of the world. And it really came about through technology and the invention of the personal computer, and now with our smartphones. And the students in my class, you know, we look at technology, and it took a TV 13 years to reach 50 million people. It takes Facebook, you know, a day. And so how technology has changed us. That's why we always have to be so observant of our technology in the district and how we can better it and what we need to do to better it. The world is flat. You can do your job from anywhere. You can travel anywhere. We need to make sure that our students are well-versed in the technology that they will be using in their careers. Second, I want to give a shout out to, lately I haven't been able to do as many schools visits. I am a mom of 3 girls and with a job, and the afternoons a lot of times lately been with the girls. A lot of time with maybe a drill team or 2. And I want to give a shout out to our groups, our extracurricular, maybe that don't go to a UIL tournament, that don't get recognized at a board meeting. We have lots of other activities who go and they compete and they do wonderful and they represent our district fabulously, but it's just not something that maybe comes to the board meeting. I want to give a shout out to those groups, those teachers, their supporters, and their parents. We have a vast number of talented kids in this district, and I just want to praise them. Thank you.
Kobe?
I just kind of want to share with you, because we did do a number of sessions when we were in New Orleans, but I also had to do a shout out to Dr. Macias, who allowed me to assist her in doing another presentation on the New Arrival Center. We actually had some repeat people that came from last year when we presented, and they came back again this year. And we had people that are in districts that are much larger than ours. They were having the same situation happen in their districts, and they were very impressed with the New Arrival Center. And I'll tell you, it is invigorating to go to these conferences that we go to, because there's oftentimes I will sit down in a session, and about half of the session Sci-Fair is already doing or planning to do. And I used to tell Dr. Anthony, and I've told Dr. Henry, I really think we could put it on here in Sci-Fair and people will be more educated, but that's just me, I don't know. But you always bring back good information, but it's always impressive, and it's always makes you feel so honored to be working with this board and in this district when you see other districts that have struggled like they have. Thank you.
Any other comments from board members? I've got the final comment, so, and this is pretty awesome, if you ask me. The WNBA draft is currently going on, and for those of you that don't know, a few years ago, Nneka Ogwumike was selected number 1 right out of Stanford today. Her sister, Shanae Ogwumike, was selected number 1 in the WNBA draft. They're both Sci-Fair grads, top of the class. They really exemplify, when you hear in college sports the word student athlete, that would be an Ogwumike, because that pretty much defines them. And then Marnie sent me a note that said the only other siblings to go number 1 in a professional draft were 2 people by the name of Peyton and Eli Manning. So the Ogwumikes aren't here, but I think they deserve a nice round of applause for that. Now I'll turn it back over to President Ethan.
Citizen participation. Patrons who have duly registered per policy BED local may address the board regarding matters of concern or interest to the district, other than the character of any student, staff, or board member. I would like to remind the audience that and the viewers that the comments of the speakers reflect their own positions or opinions. The board may not discuss or act upon any matter that is not listed under the action item portion of the agenda. Therefore, board members may not discuss the comments of speakers. Please understand that a lack of response from board members does not indicate agreement or approval of comments. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes to address the board. Christine Hartley, Monique Harrington, board shadow, will be the designated timekeeper. Our first speaker is Mary Winters Stoner.
Good evening, President Ryan, Board of Trustees, Dr. Henry, and viewing audience. My name is Mary Stoner, and I'm president of Cy-Fair TSTA NEA. Tonight, Mrs. Bobby Cunningham, a 29-year member of TSTA, was recognized as our National ESP Advocate of the Year. The term ESP means Educational Support Professional. These are the employees without whom our schools could not function. They are the bus drivers, the mechanics, the electricians, the plumbers, the custodians, the groundskeepers, the food service folks, the secretaries, receptionists, the paraprofessionals, and the list goes on. Consider this. We teachers stand before 30-plus students on a daily basis. We easily observe their behaviors. But who among us can imagine having 60 to 75 students behind us whom we must watch in a mirror while trying to focus on the road? Or have you ever walked by the boys and girls restrooms after a full day of school? What about the tagging on the walls done in permanent markers? Have you sauntered through the lunchroom to see where a good portion of the food falls? Our education support professionals take care of these situations daily, and they do so with great pride. But as Miss Bobby has so eloquently stated, their jobs are secondary to the children. In fact, the impact our ESPs have on our students is both huge and positive. Cy-Fair ISD has a right to be proud of all of its dedicated employees, and what better way to show that than in their paychecks? This evening, we understand a salary increase will be proposed. We encourage you to consider an across-the-board raise which will most fairly compensate all Cy-Fair employees. Please keep in mind that TRS active care costs will increase sharply again, and that approximately 5,000 of our more experienced employees will be receiving smaller monthly paychecks as they are forced to transition into a new pay cycle. Cy-Fair TSTA thanks you in advance for considering an across-the-board raise for all of the employees who have dedicated their lives to making Cy-Fair ISD the premier district it is in both the state and the nation.
Thank you. Our second speaker will be Thomas Bazan.
Honorable President, trustees, superintendent, and staff, as well as the concerned citizens, I wish to make further comments regarding the May 10th bond referendum. For those not at the earlier meetings, I informed the trustees the Harris County Republican Party opposes the May 10th bond election, believing it is wrong to have all current and future property taxpayers encumbered with enormous debt by just a few thousand voters. Further, the voters have only a few short weeks to scrutinize this all-or-nothing proposition. The part of this bond plan that concerns me the most is the proposed conversion of the hardwired network to a wireless network, and that all the students will be issued wireless devices. Imagine, if you will, your child being exposed to dozens of these devices all day, every day that they attend school. I searched the school district website but could find no environmental studies or RF hazard assessments, and that no one has bothered to evaluate the impact of these continuous microwave exposures and what impact they'll have on the students or the teachers for that matter. Later this month, the World Health Organization will be releasing recommendations for new lower RF exposure standards, which will likely be adopted by the CDC and eventually by the FCC. If the children are our concern, I urge the voters to reject the bonds and make them start over. Thank you.
Thank you. And our next speaker is Jennifer Lapp.
Good evening, Cyfair ISD Board Trustees, Superintendent, and community members. My name is Jennifer LePay, and I am the committee chair for the Cyfair American Federation of Teachers Committee on Political Education. Our COPE committee is charged with handling political expenditures of our members' donated PAC dollars. Recently, we polled our membership regarding the upcoming bond election. We wanted to know the level of support the bond election had amongst our members and COPE contributors. The response we received was overwhelmingly in support of the bond election. Therefore, we are committed to working on a community effort in helping with the passage of the bond. Our COPE committee will be meeting again to decide on the level of financial support that we can offer towards the effort. However, consider this public announcement as a pledge from the Cyfair AFT COPE committee to help support the bond election. Thank you for your time, and asks not what this bond can do for you, but what you can do for this bond. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker will be David M. Wilson.
President Ryan, Dr. Henry, board members, I want to thank you again for the opportunity to speak before the board. I really appreciate the fact that you are concerned about the opinions of the public and your constituents. Our corner of Harris County is growing. We have more school-age children moving here every day, and so we realize that we need more schools to accommodate that growth. If the Cyfair ISD board had presented a bond issue solely to build needed schools, we'd have no problem supporting the measure. Sadly, that's not what we've done. Of the $1.2 billion requested, only 8.8% is clearly and exclusively for new schools to accommodate the growing population. But 91.2% of that total has nothing to do with new school buildings, and we can't support that. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, I'm representing the Citizens for Fair bond elections. Cyfair ISD is used to going to schools to get the vote of the PTA teachers and parents and school staff. Cyfair ISD makes sure this segment of the voters knows when and where the mobile voting machines are available. The majority of the voters and taxpayers are not given the same type of notification and access to the voting booth. Yes, it might be legal, but it's not fair or right. 90% of those with a vested interest of contracts, goodies for their kids, bonuses or raises, etc., know when and where the voting machines will be during the early voting. And while the majority of the voters who pay the majority of the taxes, who even find out and care to vote, will be in the single digits. Now, these are the facts. We all want enough school for our kids, but none of us wants to be played for a fool by clever politicians or their bundling consultants. Vote no on this bond issue. The board needs to come back in November with a more transparent bond issue that allows all the voters to vote separately for new school buildings and then on the other items on your wish list. We can prepare for more great kids without supporting everything in this bond. No for now. Cyfair ISD, you need to get the message and know that there's plenty of time for a more modular bond issue in November. Thanks in advance for taking a stand for children and for real transparency in Cyfair ISD.
Thank you. Our next speaker will be Nikki Colbert.
Cy-Fair ISD trustees, Superintendent Dr. Mark Henry, district staff, and community. I come before you tonight to give praise on new policy. My name is Nikki Cowart, president of Cy-Fair AFT. We represent our membership, which is also a large sampling of teachers and support staff throughout the district. Several months back, one of our AFT committees, namely a group of custodians, asked for union and district support on an increase of better working conditions, improving the air conditioning use inside campuses during summer months. We found that some of our district employees were using sick days to recover from heat exhaustion and near dehydration. Folks mowing yards or shampooing carpets were trying to find cool spots in buildings that were sometimes as hot as 85 degrees during the summer. AFT looked at research and documented best practices being utilized in energy-efficient districts across the state of Texas. With custodian support pouring in from teachers, students, pastors, and business owners, we circulated a petition for new policy to cool our schools better during Texas's hottest months. We even had ice blue bracelets made, stamped Cool Schools, and some of the trustees were wearing those to show their support. In February, we took our signed petitions to Tammy Blankenship, Director of Operations here in Cy-Fair ISD. Tammy and her team overwhelmingly supported the custodian campaign for cooler schools as well. Tammy, if you can come up here, you gave an award and now you get an award. And Roy, thank you so much. Roy worked on this as well. On behalf of Cy-Fair AFT, we want to thank Tammy for working tirelessly and ensuring a safe, healthy, cooler work environment for all of her summer staff. I think we have some bracelets to give to everybody.
Did you get something on it?
In conclusion, we want to thank current school board members, all of you, and the superintendent for hearing union concerns on a regular basis. Each of us here tonight deserve praise for Cy-Fair ISD being the third largest, but the best district in Texas. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir.
Stay cool.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's yours. Oh, thank you. The board will hear the following reports. Agenda item 4B. The administration will provide an oral report on the district's actions regarding implementation of HB 5. Presenter, Linda Macias, Mary Jadalowski, and Ashley Claiborne.
President Ryan, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Henry. This evening we will be sharing with you our progress in the implementation of HB 5 in the Cypress-Fairbanks ISD. House Bill 5 was passed by the 83rd regular session of the legislature and signed into law by the governor in June 2013. The changes affect a number of areas, including the curriculum, accountability, assessment, and there are even financial implications such as securing funds for accelerated instruction for students who are not successful on the EOCs. Although our presentation this evening will focus on two main areas of HB 5, the foundation, high school plan, and endorsements, which will be presented by Mary Jadlowski, our district expert in this area, and secondly, an additional accountability system, the evaluation of community and student engagement, which will be presented by Dr. Ashley Claiborne, our expert in that area. I would like to quickly share a few other areas that are a part of this bill.
One of those areas is the reduction in the end-of-course exams, the EOCs. The EOCs were reduced from 15 to 5 tests that high school students must pass to be eligible for graduation. The 5 EOC exams tested are Algebra 1, English 2, U.S. History, and Biology. Additionally, 90% attendance to receive course credit or a final grade in a course is also a component of the bill. Prior to this, 90% only impacted course credit and therefore was applied primarily at the high school level. However, the law was amended to include not just high school, but K through 12th grade. College preparatory courses is another component of the law. Districts must partner with at least one institute of higher learning to develop college prep courses in math and English language arts for 12th grade students who do not meet college readiness standards or whose performance indicates they are not ready to perform entry-level college coursework. These are basically students who have not passed their EOCs by the end of the 11th grade. While some districts have struggled with this component of HB5, it was one of the easiest for us to begin implementing because of our strong relationship and collaboration with Lone Star College Cy-Fair. These courses were being developed by Lone Star College Cy-Fair and CFISD before the passing of HB5. I'd like to take a moment to thank the Lone Star College Cy-Fair staff for their partnership and working side by side with us as we develop and implement this component of HB5. In the audience are some of the Lone Star College administrators, and I'd like to take a moment to recognize them. We have Dr. Audrey Levy, President of Lone Star College Cy-Fair. Dr. Levy, will you stand? Dr. Catherine Glenn, the Dean of Developmental Courses. Dr. Dina Shepard, Vice President of Centers. And Pam Red, faculty member for Transitional Math. Thank you so much for being our partners as we implement House Bill 5. House Bill 5 also addresses the removal of students from class for remedial tutoring or test preparation for more than 10% of the school day for the school days on which the class is offered unless parent consent is provided. Benchmark testing is another area that is referenced in House Bill 5. This refers to district benchmarks that are STAR practice tests, where a campus basically shuts down and mirrors the STAR test and simulates the 4-hour testing window. House Bill 5 limits districts to 2 STAR practice type assessments per subject area tested. I'll share with you that in Cy-Fair, we actually provide one benchmark per subject area tested that fits the state's definition of a benchmark. However, we were basically calling all assessments at Cy-Fair benchmarks. So we had to go back and change the terminology. We now call our exams that monitor our student success with our curriculum and that are given during a class period DPMs, or District Progress Monitoring. Above-level testing is also referenced in the bill. Students enrolled in an above grade level course that has an associated EOC will take the EOC. If there is not an EOC, students will take the STAR for that enrolled grade level. An example is we have some 8th graders that are actually taking geometry. However, since there is no longer a geometry EOC, they will be taking the 8th grade math STAR. In the packet provided for you, the first item is our HB5 implementation plan. This will give you an idea of the amount of work in detail that has gone into implementing House Bill 5. I will now turn the presentation over to Mary Jaloski, who will continue with the Foundation School Program and endorsements.
Thank you for the opportunity this evening to give you further information about our House Bill 5 implementation. HB 5 brought with it a new high school graduation program, a plan with more rigor but added flexibility. Our current 8th grade students are the first group that will graduate under the Foundation High School program with an endorsement. Other students already in high school this year, our 9th, 10th, and 11th graders, may also choose to move to the new Foundation program. Or they can stay and continue to work under the recommended, the minimum, or the distinguished achievement programs. As you might expect, a junior would be less likely than a freshman to move from his or her current plan to the Foundation plan. The farther a student is along a specific plan, the less likely he or she would be to move to a different one. The Foundation plan may, however, entice our 9th grade students due to its added flexibility and career focus. The Foundation program requires 22 credits. Different from the recommended, it allows choice for students in many forms. An example, students have an option to select from among a list of courses instead of taking the traditional English 4 course. They can choose a course in literary genres. They can take a 4th year of debate. They might choose a humanities course, among other options. Students also only take 3 social studies courses: world history or world geography, one or the other, not both, U.S. history, and then, of course, the 2 half credits of government and economics. Adding rigor, all students will earn 2 credits in a foreign language, a requirement reserved now for the recommended students only in the current framework. The endorsement program requires a student to earn 4 more credits. Students will take an additional math and science course and earn 2 additional credits in electives for a total program of 26 credits. Students earn an endorsement in their area of interest and/or aptitude. 5 endorsement areas are available. The first is a STEM endorsement, STEM standing for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. There are 5 different options or ways that you can earn a STEM endorsement. You can do so by taking computer science courses, by taking career and technical education courses, which from this point forward I will call CTE courses, by taking math courses, science courses, or a combination of courses in any of those areas, computer science, CTE, math, and/or science. Additional to the STEM endorsement is the requirement to take Algebra 2, Physics, and Chemistry. A business and industry endorsement can be earned in 3 different ways: by taking CTE courses, by taking English courses, specifically debate, newspaper, or yearbook, or by taking from among technology courses. A public service endorsement can be earned in 2 different ways: by taking CTE courses or by taking junior ROTC courses. An arts and humanities endorsement can be earned in 4 different ways: by taking social studies courses, foreign language courses, fine arts courses, included among those are art, music, theater, and dance, or English elective courses. And finally, students can earn a multidisciplinary studies endorsement, and that can be earned in 3 different ways: by taking courses, 4 courses in each of the 4 core content area, English, math, science, and social studies, much like our current 4x4, but a choice, not a requirement, or by taking AP or dual credit courses or possibly CTE courses. Upon the final vote of the State Board of Education on Friday, January 21st, 2014, the Curriculum and Instruction Team finalized a training and informational PowerPoint for students, parents, and staff. The PowerPoint was used for all trainings and parent meetings in an effort to ensure clear and consistent communication regarding new changes to the graduation program. Your packet contains many of the documents that were provided to parents and students. Your packet includes the PowerPoint that we used, a chart listing the graduation requirements, a chart outlining how endorsements may be earned, a graduation planning worksheet, and a 4-year planning worksheet. All of these documents are also available on the district websites for parents to access and review. After the final SBOE vote on January 31st, we received a preliminary outline of the House Bill 5 implementation decisions on February 2nd from the Texas Education Agency. Again, the Curriculum and Instruction Team began an aggressive training plan. The first training occurred on February 13th when principals, associate principals, and directors of instructions were trained. Closely following new trainings for all the counselors took place. 4 sessions were scheduled for counselors, 2 sessions for PACE teachers, a session for college and career specialists, a session for diagnosticians, a session for high school special education support staff, and a session for registrars. Updates and clarifications were included as agenda items in all the other regularly scheduled meetings for these groups. The team also planned and delivered an aggressive parent meeting schedule. 2 district-level parent meetings were facilitated. The first was held right here in this very boardroom on February 25th. Over 300 parents attended. A second meeting was scheduled on March 3rd in the theater at the Berry Center. The room was packed with standing room only. Over 600 parents attended. That session went on for 45 minutes beyond the scheduled end as staff stayed to ensure all questions were answered and parents left with the clear understanding of all the new requirements and expectations. All high schools and middle schools scheduled and facilitated parent meetings. Cy Woods, for example, had 800 parents in attendance. Other campuses had similar results. Additionally, presentations were scheduled for other parent groups, including the Superintendent Parent Advisory Committee, the Superintendent Hispanic Parent Advisory Committee, the Volunteers in Public Education Executive Board, the Horizons Parent Advisory Committee, I'm actually doing that presentation tomorrow evening, and the District-Wide Educational Improvement Council, or the DEIC. House Bill 5, as Dr. Macias already mentioned, established expectations for a more targeted focus on students leaving high school ready for college and/or career. The law requires collaboration between a school district and an institution of higher education in the creation of an English and a math course for seniors who are not college ready by the end of their junior year. These two courses are aligned to and include the high school course content and the content of the developmental math or English courses at Lone Star College. The students are studying both. Students who earn an A or B in either of these courses are guaranteed enrollment in the credit-bearing English Composition and Rhetoric course and the college algebra course if the student enrolls at Lone Star College during the summer or the first fall after they graduate without, let me repeat, without any testing requirements. That means no SAT, ACT, TSI, any of that. This agreement between our two institutions provides a significant opportunity for students, one that we will encourage and support in the coming years. The math curriculum is already in place as it was a product of our Gulf Coast Pass grant collaboration with Lone Star College. It is already available for the second year to our students. The English course is currently under development and scheduled to be completed by March 1st and will be offered to seniors next school year. A team of 6 senior English teachers here in the district, 6 Lone Star College English teaching staff, our secondary English coordinator, and the Lone Star College Developmental English Chair are doing the work. The partnership and collaboration is exceptional and focuses on our students and their success at the next level. Additionally, Cypher ISD has a memorandum of understanding with Cypher College Lone Star for a half-credit course offered in our high schools called Bridge to College Success. Students taking this course in the spring of their senior year and earning an A, B, or C are not required to take the Success course expected of all first-time students at Lone Star. Another great opportunity for our kids. Our partnership with Lone Star College is strong, efficient, and built to increase options and success for our common students. I'll turn the presentation over now to Dr. Ashley Claiborne. She will provide information on the evaluation of community and student engagement, and then we would be glad to entertain your questions after our presentation is complete.
In 2011 and 2013, legislators were hearing from parents, students, teachers, administrators, local business groups, and school boards, as well as others, that there was an overwhelming emphasis on standardized testing. These groups were requesting a reduction in testing, as well as a way to tell the story of and place value on what is happening in districts and on campuses when it's not a testing day. In response to these requests, House Bill 5 reduced the number of tests and requires each school district to evaluate the district's performance and the performance of each campus in the district in community and student engagement and in compliance. The community engagement requirement is an opportunity for districts to demonstrate areas of excellence and success, as well as recognize areas in need of improvement and set future goals valued in the community. House Bill 5 requires certain evaluation factors, evaluation criteria of exemplary, recognized, acceptable, and unacceptable, a reporting deadline of August 8th each year, the evaluation to be developed by a local committee, and that this process begins during the current 2013-14 school year. It is important to note that this evaluation is separate from and in addition to state and federal accountability requirements. Additionally, the evaluation will look different in each school district across the state of Texas because the evaluation is locally developed around the aforementioned requirements. As required by House Bill 5, the areas to be evaluated include digital learning environment, dropout prevention, 21st century workforce development, community and parent involvement, district and campus compliance, fine arts, wellness and PE, second language acquisition, and gifted and talented. In Cyfair ISD, we believe each of these areas work together to help prepare 21st century global learners. Please note, based on House Bill 5 requirements, we were not able to add or remove any of these evaluation areas. However, the specific details for evaluating each of these measures was developed by a local committee. Listed before you now are the names of the individuals that served on the committee. The committee was comprised of elementary, middle school, high school, and alternative campus principals, ISC staff members, and community members. We sincerely appreciate the service and dedication of time each of these individuals gave to this process. Our process began in the fall of 2013 when all of our Cyfair ISD principals suggested criteria we valued in Cyfair to be considered for the larger evaluation. We then developed the committee, held 2 committee meetings in which initial performance measures were determined, and we began to collect and analyze data for each of the suggested measures. In February 2014, the committee reconvened and finalized the performance measures along with targets for each measure. The committee decisions were shared with Dr. Henry and the associates along with all the principals. This month, we're sharing the evaluation information with you, our Board of Trustees, and we're also beginning to collect data for the 2013-14 evaluation. Campus and district level data must be submitted through the Public Education Information Management System, also known as PEIMS, on June 26th, and the data will be made public on August the 8th via the Cyfair ISD website. In Cyfair ISD, we're going to refer to this process as the case.
Hurry, we're late.
I know, God.
What's that?
I don't know. What do you think we should do?
I don't know. I think we should turn it in.
Hey, guys, what are you doing?
Oh, we found this case and we were gonna turn it in.
Well, let's see what it is.
Let's see.
Okay. Let's open it up.
Okay.
Since the passing of House Bill 5, we have focused on 3 areas: curriculum and instruction, assessment, and accountability. A new component under accountability is the district evaluation of community and student engagement. In Cyfair, we call this the case. You have just seen the 9 components that make up this evaluation system. The case has provided us with an opportunity to showcase what's important to Cyfair, and that makes us the great and proud district we are.
Cyfair ISD.
What's in your case?
On March 27, 2014, the final version of the CASE project was shared with the principals. We noted that the CASE process is similar to this white box I have in my hand now. It doesn't seem like much until the individual campus touch is added. To demonstrate this line of thinking and to kick off this new evaluation process, we surprised the principals with their very own case, decorated by the art teacher and/or students at their individual campuses. As you can see, the principals had a good time unveiling their surprises. These decorated cases highlighted the uniqueness of each campus, the same way the case evaluation will enable our campuses to demonstrate their individuality. It is my pleasure to let you know tonight we have a case for each of our board members and Dr. Henry. These have been specifically designed for you. They contain your name, the case acronym, and the components of the case system. Mr. Covey, your case was created by Brad Conklin from Cook Middle School. Mr. Hoffman, your case was created by Crystal Gilmore from Truett Middle School. Mrs. Hartley, your case was created by Pat Berry from Lambkin Elementary. President Ryan, your case was created by Kim Ross from Cypress Falls High School. Dr. Henry, your case was created by student Jose Pescador under the guidance of Lee Ann Carrier from Cypress Lakes High School. Mrs. Mingoa, your case was created by, hold on, Mr. Jackson, you have one. Mr. Jackson, your case was created by Charlotte Stewart from Cypress Woods High School.
Oh, that's really cool.
Mrs. Mingoya, your case was created by Angie McElroy from Feast Elementary. Angie is a little bit under the weather and was able to be with us tonight. Our K-12 art coordinator, Sarah Sanders, will present you her case in our absence. And Dr. Ogletree, your case was created by Kim Lloyd from Hamilton Middle School. Inside of your case, you will find a few notes of encouragement, the case guide, both of which were provided to the principals. The case guide outlines the details for each performance measure along with scoring information. The principals are able to use the pink sheets in the case guide to help them collect and prepare campus-level data. At this time, I would like to recognize all of our Cyfair ISD art teachers and their leader, Sarah Sanders, for all the work put into this project. If you'll join me with a round of applause. The table before you now depicts the types of data that will be collected for the case evaluation. On the far left-hand side, you will see the indicator areas, and these are mandated by the state. The next column denotes if the data will be collected at the campus level. These data pieces are not officially kept in records at the ISC, so the campus principals will be providing us with this information. A few examples include community and parent involvement inside the school and digital learning opportunities. The next column denotes if the data will be collected from records kept at the Instructional Support Center. These data are housed in Information Services, and my team is working with them to collect and analyze these data. A few examples include participation in athletics and enrollment in a fine arts course. The next column denotes each of the performance measures developed by the committee. The following three columns indicate the level at which the measure will be evaluated: high school, middle school, or elementary. In total, 13 performance measures will be submitted to us directly from the campuses, and 11 will be collected from Information Services. Furthermore, high schools will be evaluated on 20 measures, middle schools on 18 measures, and elementary schools will be evaluated on 14 measures. Upon collection of all data, Each campus and the district will receive an indicator rating of exemplary, recognized, acceptable, or unacceptable. The campus and the district will also receive an overall rating of exemplary, recognized, acceptable, or unacceptable. The ratings will be determined based on the following scale. 100% to 80% will be considered exemplary, 79% to 60% will be considered recognized, 59% to 40% will be acceptable, and 39% and below will be unacceptable. It's critical for the board and the public to remember that this state requirement went into effect in the summer of 2013. We spent the fall of 2013 and half of the spring of 2014 developing the case evaluation, and the principals were just now being able to start collecting data for this year's evaluation. We believe we've set reasonable performance measures that will be evaluated in a fair and consistent manner. With that said, we're considering this year our initial year of implementation. As we move forward in the process, our committee will set reasonable benchmarks as our campuses work to increase performance. At this time, Dr. Macias, Mrs. Jodlowski, and I will be happy to entertain any questions you may have regarding House Bill 5 implementation.
Mr. Hoffman?
Thank you, Mr. President. Much better. Was this state mandate funded?
I'm going to refer that to,
No, it is not.
So that's consistent with what I was telling you as far as state funding. Dad and mom and a deadbeat.
Are there any other questions? Dr. Ogletree?
I'd just like to say, I want to applaud the whole team. You all have done phenomenal work to get this done. Going back to my concern is making sure that the parents and students fully understand this, and you indicated earlier, Ms. Joslowski, all the efforts. If there are parents who don't understand this and and the student is enrolled in the foundation, is the student at some point allowed to
Make
move
adjustment,
from
change.
foundation to foundation with endorsements, or even to the distinguished level?
The eighth graders this year, current eighth graders, are the first group that will do foundation with an endorsement. And all students start with foundation, including an endorsement. There is an opt-out, as you will, but that does not occur for a student until the end of their sophomore year. So they're on the 26th foundation with the intent to earn an endorsement, and they must remain so until they finish their second year in high school. Then they have the option, upon a deep conversation and counseling with the parent, the counselor, so that the parent knows the implications of moving away without the endorsement, moving on without the endorsement, and then they sign a form that acknowledges that they had a conversation, that they understand the implications, and that they're allowing their student to do so. The current kiddos in high school can choose the foundation, but it's just like anything, Dr. O. If you were in your junior year in college and you were almost completing your degree plan, you would not want to opt out. It would take more time, more energy, different coursework. So we don't expect, although they have the option for sophomores and juniors, many of them, unless they have a unique or specific situation, to move off of their current recommended minimum or distinguished to go to foundation. But we really do expect a lot of our freshmen to do so, because it gives them a lot of open choices for the next 3 years. They're not far enough along in their graduation plans that changing is not a really good option for them. And students may, at any time, move from one endorsement to a different one. So if I decide that I want to start as a STEM endorsed student because, I want to take all kinds of math, and I decide, math is not as much fun. I can't imagine that, having been a math person myself. But that not being very much fun, they can move to arts and humanities because they're interested in furthering their fine arts coursework or such. They have a lot of flexibility, and we will allow them to move and support that move as best as we can and as flexibly as we can.
And we are truly blessed to have Lone Star
Yes, we are.
as a partner. Would you just explain for our viewing audience what role they play in this process here?
Well, they collaborate with us on a regular basis on multiple levels. In this particular instance, there are those 3 courses that are very significant to our student population, especially those that intend to start their college experience at Lone Star College. That student success course, all of the colleges now are requiring the students to take different versions of a study skill, goal setting, how to focus, how to do your best in your classes. Lone Star has that similar class also. And we have given our students the opportunity to take that in the spring of their senior year. So if they do that and then they subsequently, immediately enroll in college at Lone Star, then they don't have to take that course. That requirement is met. And of course, we all hear the stories about students that come out of high school and are not ready for college-bearing courses. They have to take remedial or developmental courses. So the significant work that our collaborative staffs have done in providing an opportunity for students to go directly into a college-bearing math class and directly into a credit-bearing college English course is just really foundational work. And these ladies that are sitting so patiently in our audience, they are all huge contributors with regard to our partnership and commitment to that work. So we appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
Do any of the board members have questions?
No, I was going to ask I know how important these classes are, the bridges and the senior English and the senior math, because right now the concern is if they're testing into a college algebra but they're not quite ready for it, the developmental pieces that need to be in place. So I'm so thankful that we have this collaboration and that we're working on it. When will these classes be at all of the high schools?
The math course is in existence for the second year.
Okay.
This is the second year for that course. And the English course will be available to next year's senior class. It is under development right now. Dr. O'Brien, that's a May 1st target date?
May 1st target date. If they have a little fine tuning that they're doing right now in the fall semester of that course, but they're working very diligently. They will meet the deadline.
Yes, they will. And then we have some staff development that we're going to engage both their staff and our staff in, so that the expectations will be calibrated, if you will, and that what our teachers are expecting is exactly in line with what the college staff will expect when those students transition over. So it's a tight alignment, it's strong collaboration, it's going to be very productive for our students.
I think it'll be really successful for the students. Thank you.
Any additional questions? Mr. Covey?
A couple of questions. Now, this is an amazing endeavor on your part. Just as always, I'm impressed. Did you have to present this back to the state for them to see what we were doing here? Did they have to give us some kind of an approval, or what do we do?
The case?
On which
on the
one?
case or the?
On the case.
The state has given us very little guidance, believe it or not, on this evaluation. They've essentially told us how we're going to submit the results back to them. Everything else was developed in-house by our Cyfair ISD committee, and essentially what will happen is we'll submit to them just the results of the evaluation in that PEAM submission on June the 26th, but they won't necessarily see our whole process unless they request that.
Okay. And my next question actually will probably go to you guys, but Dr. Levy probably knows the answer to this, and that is that what I understand is that there are different levels of what different colleges consider are remedial requirements. And I understood that there was an endeavor, possibly still ongoing, that was going to standardize that, which would give us a little bit more information based on which colleges our kids go to. Is that ongoing? Are y'all familiar with it? I'm sorry to put you on the spotlight right now. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think,
Kind of do, I believe.
Hey, come on up to the microphone so both the people watching at home
I'm
can hear
sorry.
you.
You know, if you come visit, you're going to talk, right? I know.
It's all good. I believe what you're referring to is the TSIA, which is the placement test that students take who don't meet one of the exceptions, getting a certain score on an end of course exam, et cetera. So what we're offering to the students here and of our community is that chance to have to bypass that. If they meet the qualifications under our agreement with the certain grade, the A or the B, or in the student success course, the ABC, they don't have to do any placement testing. Now, in terms of taking that to other institutions, if students are not coming to Lone Star College Cy-Fair, what we believe is the preparation alone is going to be enough to place them college ready at any other institution. So while we cannot share the same articulation agreement, we have every expectation that by meeting the standards of this curriculum, they will be ready no matter where they decide to begin their college career.
Okay.
Did
thank
that
you.
answer it?
Yes, it did. And I'm real hopeful. I just basically, through one of our TASB, our State Texas Association of School Board meetings, I was told that there was an endeavor for all colleges to standardize on what they considered was remedial requirements. And so that was one of the things that I was hopeful that we were getting to a point where it was. So.
Well, they're doing a lot of work with trying to fast-track developmental education initiatives and get students to that college-ready place sooner. And there is a great effort that's taking place in sharing best practices so that we can work toward that goal.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And thanks for being spontaneous there. Appreciate that. I want to turn that off.
Any additional questions? Mr. Jackson?
This is my third time to see this presentation, and it is slowly sinking in. If you show it to me another 4 or 5 times, I might understand. When Ms. Davenport sketched out the broad brush, along with several other districts, I was, and I've said this before, I was quite impressed with how much planning Cy-Fair had put into this. In visiting with principals, but also listening to very heartfelt questions raised by parents at a VIPS meeting where this was covered. Do we anticipate additional resources being allocated to address the additional classes to be provided? All of our schools already are pretty tight, so I know there's no more classroom spaces unless we just take classrooms away from teacher A, like physics, since it's no longer an end-of-course exam, and replace it with others.
Mr. Jackson, as we were doing our planning for HB5 and the courses that were approved by the state, one of the things that we quickly talked about was how fortunate we are in Cy-Fair because many of the courses we are already offering, and our kids are already taking it. Certainly, one of our concerns is having enough dual credit credential teachers to be able to offer the courses. But as I shared on Thursday, the collaboration with Lone Star College Cy-Fair and with CFISD has been to look at other avenues to offer that, whether it's through a distance-type learning environment, just other opportunities to be able to offer that. But that really is our biggest concern right now.
Thank you.
Yeah, just very quickly, no questions. Just a couple of comments, and of course, y'all are seeing the results of months and months of work of people, but I want to go back just a little bit further and thank Teresa, because Teresa was a huge part of working with the legislature last year and a lot of other school districts to make sure that this all came to fruition. And as Mr. Hoffman touched on, a lot of it is unfunded, but a lot of it we're really glad that we have, because think of this, I've been in education 32 years. This is the first time in my career there are fewer standardized tests than there were the year before. The first time in a career over 3 decades, so it's a move in the right direction to get away from standardized tests as the only way that we judge students and school districts. I'd also like to thank Linda and her team, obviously, for developing this plan, putting it all together. She will tell you I drove her crazy because I wanted to not only have the best, I wanted to be first out there with it, and she accomplished both of those things with her team, and her team also went to the state school board to testify, and we had a presence there. And then, of course, our great principals, counselors, and teachers. It's a difficult process to go through, but they're so good about, and educators are really good about taking whatever the legislature decides and making it work. So I just so appreciate their cooperation through this process. And again, I'm going to sing her praises again, Dr. Levy and Lone Star College Cy-Fair. It's absolutely wonderful to work with them. Her kids are our kids, and our kids are her kids, and that's the way we work together. And it's just a great relationship, and it benefits our parents, our taxpayers, and our students. Thank you, Mr. President.
We will now be moving on to agenda item 4A. The administrator will present an oral report on the preliminary budget for the 2014 through 2015 school year. Presenters Stuart Snow and Karen Smith.
Stuart, they're leaving.
Look at everybody running.
Stuart has that effect on a lot of women.
All right. See, I ceded my... I didn't hear that.
He said you have that effect on a lot of women.
I ceded my time to Linda, and I think that's going to be the last time I do that, but no. We have a change in personnel. Karen's going to help me advance my slides for me, but so we'll get started. President Ryan, members of the board, and Dr. Henry, I just wanted to take a few minutes to report to you the status of the general operating budget preparation for the 2014-2015 fiscal year. We plan to present our final budget recommendation to you for adoption at the May 12th board meeting. As you know, we generally begin the budget process in January of each year in order to adopt a budget before June the 30th. And when we begin that budget process, we develop preliminary goals for the budget that we hope to achieve in the budget preparation process. And some of those goals were established last year at this time and presented to the board at the June board meeting when the proposed budget for the current year was presented. And if you recall, a specific goal for 2014-15 was established for starting teacher salaries, and I will address that goal in just a few minutes. The goals for the 2014-15 budget are similar to those of the current year, and are that we, as always, would adopt a balanced budget, meaning that our expenditures would not exceed our revenues. Another goal is to preserve the quality of our instruction to our students, as well as the services that we provide to our departments, to provide a compensation plan for our teachers and other employees that will allow us to remain competitive in the marketplace with our neighboring school districts. We desire to place a high priority on additional funding for student and staff safety and security, and then protect the district's operational infrastructure by funding capital equipment purchases and continue to fund the FF&E replacement program that was developed this year. Next slide, please. You adopted a budget for the current 2013-14 year that set the starting teacher salary at $48,000 with the goal to increase the starting salary to $50,000 for 2014-15. In this slide, you have seen a variation of this slide in the past, but this slide is a comparison of how our 2013-14 teacher salaries compare with the districts that we primarily compete with for teachers. This information was taken from the salary survey conducted by the Texas Association of School Boards, or TASB, and compares the salaries of teachers at the starting teacher level and at the 5-year, 10-year, 15-year, 20-year, and at the maximum salary levels. And as you look at the slide on the screen overhead there, you can see that the salaries for Cy-Fair are shown in the gray background, and Cy-Fair's ranking relative to the other 7 districts listed is shown in parentheses beside the respective salary. And as you can see, for starting teachers, we are tied with Tomball as the highest beginning salary of the districts listed. In addition, we have the second highest salary for the 5-year, 10-year, and 20-year levels, and the highest salary at the 15-year level. A good portion of our budget plan for achieving the high-level goals for remaining competitive in the marketplace with our compensation plan is addressed by a compensation plan review that was conducted by the Texas Association of School Boards. The district engaged TASB to conduct an employee compensation study for all district jobs other than teachers and aides. The HR Services Division of TASB has been providing compensation consulting and support services to Texas school districts for over 30 years. And some of our budget recommendations regarding employee compensation are the result of recommendations made by TASB in their preliminary report. As the result of their study, TASB found that there are some steps on our teacher hiring schedule that were a little out of whack and not consistent with the progression of salaries with the rest of the hiring schedule. Also, there exists some significant compression between teachers and other certified educator positions that has caused some non-instructional professional positions that must be teacher certified being paid less than what a teacher with the same degree and experience will be paid, leaving no path for advancement for those folks. These are assistant principals, counselors, diagnosticians, and instructional specialists and coordinators. For the non-instructional pay grades, TASB found that although our pay grade structure for entry and midpoints were competitive, where we have placed individuals in some of those pay grades caused some compression as more experienced employees are paid too low in the pay grade. In addition, TASB found that while the district teachers lead the market, as you can see here, lead the market in pay, the salaries for some non-instructional positions in the business operation areas and clerical and hourly positions are well below market. The recommendations for salaries that I will present in this report are reflective of the recommendations made by TASB to remedy these issues. On a side note, if you recall, in order to comply with a change in the standardized school year, we are in the process of transitioning a pay group from the July to August pay group 8 to the September to August, I'm sorry. Okay. Karen, help me out. I'm confused on the dates.
Yeah, we're proposing transitioning the pay group 8s, which are on an August through July pay cycle,
Right, to a
the
September to
TIRA
August.
standardized school year of September through August.
Yeah, it's August to July, transitioning to September to August pay group 9 calendar. We have heard some concerns from our employees that they would desire an option to either stay in the pay group 8 or to transition to a pay group 9. They would want an option to do that, to take either one of those options. And we sent a notice to you that we have heard these concerns and have felt that in the best interest of our employees, we communicated to all the affected employees in those pay groups that they now have a one-time option to either stay in pay group 8 or to transition to pay group 9. Our preliminary plan for the 2014 budget, 2014-15 budget, next slide. Next slide. Thank you. Now, go back one, please. It's hard to get good help, you know that? I'm just teasing. She's the best there is. So our preliminary plan for the 2014-15 budget, based on our goals that we presented, are that achieve our stated goal to provide a starting teacher salary of $50,000, provide a salary increase to all teachers of $2,600 for each step on the hiring schedule, and in order to correct the out-of-alignment issues in steps 2 through 7, TASB recommends an equity pay increase to the teachers in those steps in addition to the $2,600 salary increase. By the way, the percentage increase for teachers ranges from 3.49% to 5.89%, with the average increase of nearly 4.5%. 59% of our teachers will receive a raise in excess of 5%, and 96% of our teachers receiving a salary increase greater than 4% according to the proposed plan. Also, we propose to provide a salary increase of 3.25% at midpoint for all other employees. In response to the TASB study, we are also recommending pay range adjustments and equity increases in addition to the 3.25% increase for certain clerical, hourly support, instructional administration, and central administration positions. In addition, we're recommending in this proposed budget on a preliminary basis that we recommending providing funding for summer school elementary K through 2 literacy initiative, and providing funding for a summer school secondary math and algebra initiative. Also included in the proposed budget at this point in time is to provide funding for the final 3-year planned phase-in of the Comprehensive Police Department, provide funding for the ongoing operational costs for the opening of Anthony Middle School, provide funding for capital outlay purchases, and provide funding for costs and increase associated with and relating to our student enrollment growth, and provide funding, continued funding for the FF&E replacement schedule that was developed this year. As you know, one aspect of the bond proposal set for election on May the 10th is the restoration of busing services to the level that existed prior to the budget cuts a few years ago. And if we're able to restore those services with the passage of the bond election, we will have some related operational costs for additional bus drivers and fuel. And so we've added some additional funding in this proposed budget for those purposes. Also, a portion of the instructional materials allotment from the state is dedicated for technology services currently. The next textbook adoption by the state is expected to require the use of all of the funds allocated for the allocated to us in the instructional materials allotment, leaving no available funds for technology services. And so we are recommending that the portion of IMA that has historically been used and allocated for technology in the general fund be restored in the general fund if, in fact, the textbook allotment requires all of the funds for textbooks. Finally, during the last legislative session, Senate Bill 1458 increased the contributions to the teacher retirement system. And the school district's portion of the increase is an additional 1.5% of compensation. Conference committee report to Senate Bill 1 in the last session provides $330 million in the 2014-15 school year for a one-time transition funding to public schools to assist with the new district contribution rate. And so we are including the amount of our additional contribution to the TRS system in our operating budget. The next two slides shows the preliminary cost of the additional budget items listed on the previous slides, and those are $18.8 million representing the teacher salary increases and the equity adjustments that I mentioned, $6.1 million for the salaries and benefits for the new teachers related to our student enrollment growth, $8.8 million representing the salary increases and equity adjustments for all other employees, $1.1 million for the summer school reading, math, and algebra initiatives, $2.1 million for the police department additions, and $3.5 million for the operational costs for opening Anthony Middle School. In addition, $7.3 million representing the additional 1.5% district contribution to TRS, $1.3 million representing the restoration of the transportation services, and then $3 million representing the instructional materials allotment dedicated for technology. That concludes my presentation, and I would be happy to answer any of your questions. Again, our plan is to bring the final proposed budget to you for your consideration and adoption at the May 12th board meeting.
Are there any questions? Mr. Jackson.
Stuart, the state legislature abolished the technology component and they merged it in with the textbook component. Is it your thought that when you said that the current thinking that they'll move to say that the IMA cannot be used for technology, are you receiving feedback that the technology component will be reinstated, or merely that it goes away permanently as opposed to being part of the blend?
What I believe, what I'm saying is that the instructional materials allotment, as the way it's set up, is intended to provide school districts with some flexibility in terms of providing the textbooks and technology. But what I'm saying is that the new textbook adoption that we're hearing about that will be required will require all of the textbook allotment that we receive in the instructional materials allotment, that leaving no additional funding for technology services.
So we still have the flexibility, we just don't have any funding to allocate for technology.
Correct.
Thank you.
Any additional questions?
Let's go to the next item.
The board will now receive and discuss the following action items.
Did you have another question?
Yes.
Okay.
You know, following up on what Dr. O and I said at the last meeting, the Chronicle came out once again this morning. They must know when we have our board meetings because they're chock full of good factual information. But basically, in a little over 2 decades, the state of Texas will be approximately 80% Hispanic. The new initiative being started by this district on top of a LEP plan which has already been identified as potentially being the best, certainly the best performing within the district, is laudatory. And I appreciate you all trying to be ahead of the curve, but I would also request management that after you see the results of your program, if it's successful, to give thought to how it can be financed to cover the additional students who can be served who are not currently being served, because it's clear the need is not going to be less, the need is merely going to be greater. And if you all have found a successful program, and I'm guessing you'll know probably by the fall or this time next year, I certainly urge you all to start planning for your future budgets to try and make allowances to increase the funding for these programs. Thank you.
Just to add to that, Mr. Jackson, and something Mr. Hoffman touches on quite a bit, we have discussions constantly about early childhood education, pre-K, early grade education. It's something that's really on our game plan. We're hoping, both, I think I mentioned this on Thursday, both candidates for governor are talking about pre-K and early childhood and focusing those dollars on young minds when they, so they can come to school and there's a little more equality when they show up. So that's in our discussions, looking for ways to help early childhood.
Stuart, once again, as always, you and your team did a great job putting together this report. It's informative for us and greatly appreciated.
Thank you.
Board will now review and discuss the following action items. Agenda item 5A. The board will consider awarding bids and contracts and/or authorizing purchase orders as recommended in the posted agenda item. Are there any questions? Yeah, okay. A1, building materials and general maintenance supplies. A2, copier fleet lease. A3, Edgenuity, E2020, and A4, fertilizer and pesticides. Are there any questions regarding those matters? No. Agenda item 5B. The board will consider approving a construction proposal and contract paid from both bond and general funds to recommend contractor and authorize the superintendent or designee to execute all necessary documents related to such contract as follows. Any questions? Oh, no. One. This was B. B1, Package A, 2013, Cook Middle School, press box and bleacher replacement. Are there any questions? Okay. Agenda item 5C. The board will consider authorizing the superintendent or designee to enter into miscellaneous professional service contract related to the following project. C1, High School 11, third-party plan review fees. Are there any questions regarding that? Mr. Jackson.
Roy, this is a very small contract. Would you briefly identify what the purpose of this contract is and what the goals are?
Yes, sir. Mr. Jackson, as required by the Texas Education Code, we are required because since we're not located in a city, municipality, we are required to not only adopt a building code, but we are required to hire a third-party plan reviewer to review the documents that are produced by our architect to make sure we have compliance with the adopted code by the board. And the cost that's before you is a $75,000 fee, a max not to exceed fee, to cover that expenditure as part of our continuation of the finalizing of high school number 11 design.
5D, the board will consider approving the district advanced placement physics 1 and 2 textbook recommendations for 2014 through 2015. Are there any questions? All right. 5E, the board will consider approving on second reading revisions to district policies. 1, DBA local, employment requirements and restrictions, credentials and records. E2, DFFA local, reduction in force, financial exigency. DFFB local, reduction in force, program change. E4, DGBA local, personnel management relations, employee complaints and grievances. FEA local, attendance, compulsory attendance. FEC local, attendance, attendance for credit. And FFC local, student welfare, student support services. Are there any questions regarding those matters? Item 5F. The board will consider approving the tax refunds of $500 or greater for Cypress-Fairbanks ISD. Any questions? Mr. Jackson.
Well, first see if anybody else wants to ask the obvious question.
We'll let you go ahead.
Stuart, I have to ask, in keeping with board tradition, I'm not going to call out the name of the payee, but is this amount for a tax refund, or was there just a giant party at a local hotel?
Well, it's for a tax refund. It is a large amount. It's the Crown, is it the Crown Hyatt, I guess? Their taxing services paid the tax on their behalf, and the hotel also paid the tax. And so we called the hotel, asking them, where to send the refund check, whether to send it to the taxing service or to them, and they requested that the check be sent to them at the hotel.
Thank you.
Any additional questions? Agenda item 5G, the board will consider approving the minutes of March 13th, 2014 regular meeting. Any questions? Agenda item 5H, the board will consider approving a request for a Texas Education Agency expedited waiver to allow the district to conduct additional staff training for reading language arts, mathematics, science, and/or social studies training in lieu of 1 day of student instruction in 2013 through 14. Roy Garcia and Lenny Macias will present.
Briefly.
Really, unless Linda wants to present something, do you have any questions there?
What we're doing, just to confirm what we're doing is that, because I know we're going to please a lot of students in the district, we're not going to make up one of our freeze days that was moved to the end of the school year, and it's going to be a staff development day, which means that the kids can now stay home legally.
Well, Mr.
Yeah, I know.
It's always fun.
Mr. Ryan, what we're actually doing is requesting an additional staff development day for June 6th, and it's actually a subject area staff development waiver from TEA. And this would increase the staff development days to 11 and would reduce the instructional days from 177 to 176, which is basically what you were sharing. And you may recall that June 6th was originally a staff development day, but became an instructional day due to the inclement weather we endured in our area. So approval of requesting this waiver would allow June 6th to once again become a staff development day and a student holiday for our students.
Yes, and that's a good point by Dr. Henry, and this will not, usually having bottoms in the seats is how we get paid. Eliminating this day with the students coming will not hurt us financially at all because of this waiver, correct?
That is correct.
That's correct, yes.
Yeah, that should be pointed out to the people that were confused about the bond and stuff earlier. Okay, go ahead.
Agenda item 5I, the board will consider approving on first reading revisions to district policies. I-1, EC local school day add. I-2, EED local instructional arrangements, student schedules revise. I-3, EIA local academic achievement grading, progress reports to parents revise. And I-4, EIC local academic achievement class ranking revise. Are there any questions?
Question. The ranking, the stuff about the ranking made me remember this or think about this. I'm curious if it's still, if each high school campus still has the autonomy to set their retesting scores and the highest grade maybe a student can get. In the past, I've kind of been curious as to if one campus only says a school can retest, a student can retest and get a 70, but at another campus they can get a 90, and I think it factors into their class ranking. And I was wondering if we might eventually move to a more uniform system in that area. So that was my question.
We do retest.
The students,
we do have a guideline that we provide for the campuses, but it is a guideline regarding redo and retest. But the the TEA guide, or law says that we are to provide kids with a reasonable opportunity to make up failing grades. And so that reasonable opportunity is what's left to the discretion of the campuses. But we do give a guidance for that.
Okay.
It does not, though, well, it doesn't impact class ranking.
Well, if it affected their grade in that class, if I go to this school and I can retest and I can make a 90, but if I go to this school and I can only make a 70, that can affect my grade in the class, and then that can affect my GPA, I would assume. And so that's what I just want to.
But the guideline is applied at the campus level. So it applies to the campus. You're not comparing class rank from.
No, but when they go to college and they're the top 10, or they're looking, that GPA might help them get into a certain college. I do think these kids are competing for the same positions in college, the same spots, the same seats. And so it's a concern of mine, kind of district-wide, if we could look at that. And maybe, you know, it's nothing that we want to look at right now, but it's a concern of mine. So I just wanted to.
Again, we do have a guideline that we provide, but as you probably know, teachers are protected with the law as far as what grades they record and how they record their grades as well. But we have talked, Ms. Hartley, about just putting a more defined guidance out there for the campuses, and we certainly will evaluate that. We were actually just talking about that last week and bringing a committee of principals together to look at that and see if we could just streamline it a little more.
Super, thanks.
Any additional questions? Mr. Jackson?
I would just like to remind everybody that we do have at least one campus that has a slightly different pedagogical approach, and it does impact on retesting. And as long as that different approach is in place, I don't know that the same approach from other campuses would necessarily always fit. Clearly, we want it to be appropriate, but I certainly support the individual campuses being able to determine what's best for their campus.
Dr. Ogletree?
I just want to ask Linda, if we have a student at a particular campus and that student does not feel like that campus's approach to this issue is sufficient, where does that student go up? And if the student was at another school, it would be treated differently. Where does that student go with that issue?
We would recommend that student go and visit with his assistant principal, and then certainly conversations with the principal. We have a director of instruction, Dr. O, at each of the campuses, and director of instruction is the one that really handles any instructional issues that might be of question or occur at a campus. But after that, they certainly can contact my office or Mary Jaloski's office for information, which does happen as well.
So how much subjectivity is involved in this, and who makes sure that at the particular campus these guidelines are followed for every student?
You're referring to the retest guidelines?
Yes.
Okay. There is some subjectivity in, or maybe not subjectivity, but certainly some opportunities for decisions on it. As I shared, the district has a guideline, and we're getting a committee to make a just more defined guideline, but it is a campus. The campuses have decisions as far as what they set as their guidance and their policies, but also teachers are also given that autonomy by law to be able to determine grades that they give the students.
Any other questions? Agenda item 5J. The board will certify that the district has met all requirements established by TEA and the Texas Education Code relating to instructional materials. Any questions? Okay.
Dr. Henry,
Oh, sorry.
I presume we have?
We have.
Thank you.
All right, 5K. Agenda item 5K. The board will consider approving the administration's recommendation for the 2014 through 2015 open-closed campus designations for student transfers. Any questions?
You have that sheet in front of you,
I'm looking for it.
right here. You need this one, Don?
I think you received two different memos. Put an additional memo at your place this evening that gives you an actual list of the campuses that have been designated as open based on the formula that we applied that looks at the projected enrollment and the capacity of each building. And then in addition to that, the campuses that would be close to employee transfers, because we do have a policy that currently allows employees to select any campus to transfer their children. And so there are situations when within campuses way over capacity that we do need to close that to employee transfers as well, with the exception of those who work at that campus or within a 1-mile radius. If you recall, this was a formula and practice that we started last year, and so we're just following the same model.
Any further questions?
I had a question.
Ms. Hartley?
My jacket keeps getting caught on the microphone. Sorry about that.
I think this is more, there's more open schools, or at least more open high schools, right, than last year? Am I right? Right? So, I mean, I think
yes,
I think
you
that's
are
great.
correct, Ms. Hartley. And the reason is we increased the percentage. Last year, we applied a 90% of capacity and felt that in looking at it, if we applied a 95%, which we thought in looking at, there was plenty of room there to accommodate any new student enrollment. So yes, you are correct. So last year, we only had Cypress Springs open with that 90%, but taking it to a 95 for all campuses, it did open more schools.
Okay,
So
no,
you
I think
are correct.
that's good. I think parents will like, some flexibility. I was thinking about the schools that are closed, and that, sometimes we always get calls or letters about things. And what's the process of, I'm just curious, of making sure that people live in the area that they go to a closed school, and what do we do? Police is not the right word, to
monitor
verify,
and
monitor,
enrollment,
yeah,
that they live within those
because
attendance
I'm sure our
boundaries.
registrars have such a hard job sometimes.
And I think that our Student Services Department, with the help of the attendance officers, really follow up on those. If campuses have concerns about whether or not a student actually lives within that attendance zone, they do notify attendance officers that are assigned to that school to do enrollment checks and verification. So they do make every effort to follow up on those. Ms. Stewart, if you want to add any additional.
No, I think that's accurate. Also, sometimes they have return mail, and they follow up on those addresses. We have lots of parents who call and share that this student doesn't live here, or understand
Usually that's
that
our best way.
they've said that they live in our area, so.
Well, I'm thinking of high schools, and you get into programs and ranks then and everything, I mean.
That's correct.
So you just kind of want to make sure everybody's following the rules and doing.
And that's the job of our attendance officers.
Okay.
And they do a great job.
Okay, thanks.
Mr. Kobe?
Yeah, just, I noticed that there's 3 high schools that are open and 3 that are closed. So what are the other 4 determined as? That's our question.
Go ahead, Christy.
The 3 that are open are not at the capacity, which is Cy Creek, Cy Ridge, and Cy Springs. And to be open, you have to be less than 95% capacity.
But I mean,
So
the
the other
4,
3 that are closed, the 4 that are open are over 95%, and so they are closed.
okay, so there's still a possibility to treat them as open, but not very many people can?
Only
Is it-
for employee transfers if they're not at the maximum 105% over capacity.
Okay, only for employee transfers. Okay, thanks.
I had a quick question on, typically in the past, we would have, one, to make sure parents understand that they could be listening to this, we usually have a number that's allotted to that campus. Are we going to have that available to parents so they can see? And the reason I ask that, will it continue to be a first-come, first-served basis where it's a race to Dave Strant to get your deal in?
Mr. Ryan, you are correct. There is a certain number for all of those campuses, and it would be the amount based to take them to the 95%. Student services, I think we talked about that today, about whether or not that number should be publicized, but it is a first-come, first-served basis
It is.
for those student transfer requests.
I would recommend, just for a transparency standpoint, and my, others on the board can agree or disagree, that you do publish the numbers. So if a parent is looking and says, I want my child to go to Goodson Middle School,
They
that
know
maybe
that there's X number of
they know
slots.
there's 8 slots and they need to get in the car.
Well, we can definitely, we'll add those numbers. One of our reasons for removing the numbers is that, for instance, we may have had a campus that had hundreds of vacancies and one that had 2. And so we didn't want that to look like a negative for a campus that may have 300 openings, a high school, and another with 2. But we can do that with an explanation that is based on capacity.
Yeah, and I think those people would look at it as a negative if you put the number. I mean, some people are just negative people. I mean, sometimes they come here and speak. So
We can add those numbers.
We can add them. That's not a problem.
Right, but I just think it would save the student services office a lot of headache if.
I agree.
Because you'll want to have parents come up and say, oh, if I'd known that, I would have got it in a lot sooner.
Well, the lowest number of transfer requests for any campus, I think the lowest number is 23, I think. But you are absolutely correct. We want to make certain that they know that they're not waiting until the last day thinking they have plenty of time, but all the slots are taken.
Okay.
Agenda item 5L, the board will consider authorizing the superintendent or designee to enter into a purchase and sale agreement for the purchase of a multi-school site and execute all related documents on behalf of the district. This item may be discussed in the closed section pursuant to section 551.071 and section 551.072. We will be having a closed session.
Yes. Mr. Ryan, we do need closed session to discuss this.
Yeah, that's what Dr. Henry said.
All right. If any board member wishes to remove one or more items for further discussion, please do so at this time. If not, I will entertain a motion to approve the action items as recommended or amended.
I have a motion.
I have a motion.
I move that we approve the items amended and recommended and co-amended and all amended.
Completely amended. Second. Motion, Dr. Ogletree, second.
Motion, Dr. Ogletree, second, Mr. Hoffman. All those in favor, please signify.
That's it. Get it up high. Get up high. Go. It's unanimous.
All right, move on here. All right. We will now go on to the superintendent's briefing portion of the agenda. Dr. Henry will make comments and provide information on the following topics. Agenda item 7, superintendent's briefing. 7A, the superintendent will provide information regarding district events and items of community interest. Presenter Mark Henry.
Throughout the year, our Board of Trustees, parents, and community business partners provide valuable volunteer services to the district students, teachers, and support staff. Tonight, you met examples of a few of them. I'd like to recognize and thank all of our volunteers. April 6th through 12th was National Volunteer Week, and April is National Volunteer Month. The community support for our district students and teachers is impressive and appreciated. April 13th through 19th is National Library Week. Our librarians are passionate about putting great books in the hands of kids, making them into lifelong readers, and introducing kids to whole new worlds. The 2014 STARS assessment continues April 22nd and 23rd in grades 3 through 8 in reading, math, science, and social studies. Please be sure to check the district webpage at www.cfisd.net for the testing dates by grade and subject matter. Parents, I would like to thank you for supporting your children and encouraging them to do their very best. The individual student performance provides valuable data that are used when determining the students' instructional needs for the next year. Please help us communicate to our students that they should show us their best as they take these assessments. I'm quite confident that our students are well prepared and with their encouragement will do a great job. Our annual retirement banquet, generously supported in part by the Cy-Fair Federal Credit Union, is scheduled for Monday, April 28th at 6 p.m. at the Berry Center. Honorees include district employees who are retiring during the school year. This event always provides an evening of entertainment, fun, and delicious food as we honor these valued employees. May 3rd through 9th is Teacher Appreciation Week, and May 6th is National Teacher Day. I would personally like to honor the CFISD educators and acknowledge the crucial role our district's teachers play in making sure every student receives a quality education. May 7th, 2014 is National School Nurses Day, and I would like to extend my appreciation to this group of professionals who provide dedicated and caring medical support to our students and district. Wednesday, May 14th is Texas Public School Paraprofessional Day. I'd like to thank all of our paraprofessionals for playing a vital role in helping provide support to the district. We appreciate what each of these groups do, not just on these official days of recognition, but throughout the entire year. Community Programs is now enrolled in 2 different summer programs, Cy-Fair Fun Camps and Club Rewind Summer Camp. In addition, the swim lesson program Splash is available for ages 4 through 18. Swim lessons are now being offered and continue through June at the Cy Ranch Pool on Fry Road. If you're looking for something fun and engaging for your children this summer, please visit our webpage and click on the Community Programs logo for more details. This year, CFISD will participate in Take Our Children to Work Day on Monday, June 9th. Although the national event is scheduled in April, students will not be excused from classes on April 24th. We feel June 9th is a better option so students can maximize their instructional days and utilize a summer day to accompany their parent to work. I would also like to remind our community that Friday, April 18th will be a student and staff holiday and district facilities will be closed. Thank you.
Good job. Good job.
Mr. President?
Yes.
My board shadow has requested time to make a brief comment. I think this would be covered by the agenda item.
Actually, if you'll let me continue, then we've got our next item before we enter into closed session this evening. We would like to give our shadows an opportunity to make some personal comments on what they observed during this meeting. Since we went that way, to begin, Marnie, we'll start with your shadow. If they could just make a brief comment, whatever they thought about the meeting. If they want to talk about how lame their shadow was, then, now's the time to probably do it. Yep.
I personally thought this opportunity was very interesting, and I learned a lot about the school board that I hadn't actually learned before, and about the total legislator in general, because in government classes you talk about committees and boards and you don't actually understand what's going on until you are seeing what's happening in light. So I thought this was a very enlightening experiment to see the discussion going on between everyone. I thought it was very interesting how everyone talked and not everyone had to pay attention the entire time.
Okay, I just checked the WNBA graph for a second.
I wasn't referring to just you. There's other culprits.
We have a winner. We have a winner.
Okay, thank you. No, I was just kidding.
Oh, that's good. I mean,
you've already got Marnie under the bus. You might as well back over her again. Anything else you want to say? Look at everyone on the board is going. Keep it coming.
They're enjoying it.
Exactly.
Oh, we're good.
Okay. Mr. Garcia, your shadow.
Well, I personally did like the experience. It's one thing to talk about it in your government class, but it's another thing to actually be in it and be involved. You actually learn more by experiencing it than just being able to talk about it. And this experience is really something that's grabbed me deeply, and I think I'll carry this on for the rest of my life. It's one way to view a different perspective as a citizen that just look at a school board and think of it that way, but from a school board point of view, it's way different.
Thank you. Dr. Ogletree, your shadow?
Well, this was interesting. Well, you know, it's like exactly like how the other two were saying. Like, they don't teach you a lot of stuff that goes on in like the committees. They just tell you about it. They don't really go into detail about how stuff goes in there, you know. So it's very enlightening about that part. So you know, it's just a good opportunity. I enjoyed it very much. So nice people who I met today. So yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Ms. McGoy, your shadow?
First of all, I'd like to thank the district and our government teachers that nominated us to be here. This opportunity has been completely amazing. I actually learned a lot. Like, I didn't know that you guys did the school budget. I learned a lot more about you guys, and it feels more like people, you know, because like when you hear about the school board, you're like, I'm never going to meet one of those people. But then it's an amazing opportunity here. And what you guys do to prepare us for college and to bring us to the next level and to help the school, like district, progress to like the ends, and you're moving with society as a whole, it's amazing, and I'm really appreciative for that. Like, it's really helpful to me and everybody else here. So thank you for this experience.
Very good.
Mr. Jackson, your shadow.
Well, I would also like to start by thanking my principal, Mr. Hughes. He's probably the best principal in the district. Along with my government teacher and Ms. Adams, the sponsor of one of the clubs that I served at. First, let me say thank you for this opportunity. I am so grateful to be able to join these other students in witnessing the inner workings of the board and its members. I am extremely inspired by the impact that the board is making every single day on a district that I know and love, a district that has given me the opportunity to succeed in my academics, to succeed in becoming a productive member of my community, and to hopefully one day succeed in becoming a productive member of society. It's so unfortunate that students spend 12 or 13 years going through this district and aren't able to witness what goes on behind the scenes, because like me, I am sure their level of awareness, faith, and optimism would be further exemplified. Every day, the connection between students and the administration grow more and more important as these decisions continue to impact our futures and the future of this community. The hard work and dedication that I have just witnessed is extremely inspiring as I embark on this new chapter in my life. It's memories like these that will impact our decisions in the future when we are given the opportunity to be in your shoes and to do what it is that you do. This event has also increased my awareness of the importance of staying connected and involved with local government. Though most citizens focus their attention on national politics, in many cases it's the decisions of these local institutions that affect the everyday lives of citizens and their families. Whether it is participating in bond elections, board elections, or volunteering, I will definitely stress the importance of staying involved as I go back to Langham Creek and talk with my peers about what I've learned today. Thank you again for blessing me with this opportunity, and hopefully one day we will all be able to impact the lives of the next generations just like each and every one of you have done to us tonight. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the next ruler of the free world. Dr. Henry?
Well, I thought this night was pretty interesting. Not to beat a dead horse here, but I'm very grateful for the opportunity that I've had. Again, I'd like to give a special shout out to Coach White for bringing up the opportunity to me. He's my economics teacher. But something that I thought was really, because a couple months ago I presented the colors at the board meeting with my ROTC unit, and then I left after that. But getting to, you know, be here tonight and kind of see what goes on behind the scenes, talk with the, you know, people sitting in the chairs and everything, it's really neat seeing everything that goes on in our district. I know there's a lot more that goes on than what we've experienced here tonight, but from my point of view, from someone who's, you know, seen these people and heard their names throughout my whatever how many years I've been in the district, it's, you know, it's seeing something from a totally different perspective, and that's what I'm taking away from this. There's something else that, you know, I've picked up. This is just something I picked up over the years, but like people don't buy what you do, but why you do it. And in my dealings with these folks tonight is that they do things for the betterment of the students and the staff, and they truly want to make an impact on the people. And that's something that I'm really going to take away tonight and try and, use that, thinking in my way of doing things from now on. So thank you all of you for that.
Thank you. Ms. Hartley, Shadow, Monique? You got it. There you go.
Well, I actually am changed coming out of this meeting because I'm grateful that my government teacher, Ms. Pickford, actually put me and selected me for this because I didn't think it was going to be as fun as it actually is. I didn't think I was going to learn as much as I've learned. And it's different seeing or hearing the stuff that goes on in the district from people who are actually in control or having an authority over it versus being a student in the school and complaining about not being able to do what you want to do or not having the ability to do what you want to do. But there's a reason to it. And now being here, you understand that certain things go certain places because other things are more important. Education and bettering your future is more important than you staying after school for something that is unnecessary or, stuff like that. And so it's enlightening to meet all these new people who I would not have ever believed that I would ever meet. And I'm grateful that I'm actually able to experience this. I'm going to take this through life because what I want to do in life is basically this. Sit on boards and vote on legislation and vote on things for my company and, have an opinion and better help my community. And that's what y'all do. Like, this is what y'all here for. And it's not like y'all are forced to do it. Y'all do it because you want to, which makes it 10 times better.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Monique. Mr. Hoffman, your shadow?
First, I want to thank my government and economic teachers, Ms. Balke and Coach Waddell, who neither one of them are here, but if they're watching, y'all are great. And also for the board and especially Mr. Hoffman for having all of us here today. I think as students, we don't truly appreciate and understand everything that goes on around the district and not just in our school. So being here this evening was such a huge learning experience, and I think I'm going to take away a greater appreciation for each and every one of you and all the work you do and for what you do to make each one of our schools a great learning place. And so thank you for that. And all of these students, y'all are all great, and it's been so great sort of getting to know you. I can see, y'all have great aspirations, and I know you will all go far in life. So thank you for having us here. It's been a great opportunity, and I'm really excited to share with my peers the things I learned, what I took away from this, and I think this changes the way I think about the schools, about the district, and everything. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Covey.
My name's Christian Kimball, and I'm an alcoholic.
Bob, that's a wrong meeting, Christian. That's tomorrow night, dude. I'm picking you up at 6.
I was mixed up those two.
I gave you the Skittles. Go ahead and work with it.
It's too late now.
I've been watching a lot of the TV show House of Cards lately, and it's the world of cutthroat politics in Washington. And today I've gotten to get a glimpse of the real thing and realize it's no different. Everyone in here, I've never been too terribly interested in local politics, I have to admit. I've always had an interest in government, but it's always been the big things, the federal government, state government. But I've come to realize tonight how much work all of you actually do to better our lives. Because I've always heard over the past couple of years since I've been in school, oh, the school board did this, the school board did that. But I've come to realize that everyone in here is an actual person who, just like the teachers that I see every day and my principal and every single administrator in my school, spend so many countless hours dedicating their lives to making sure that our lives are better and that our education is better. And I've just come to realize how grateful I am for all of you to do that. And I just, again, just like everybody else, want to thank all of you for this opportunity. It's really opened my eyes and inspired me to really get more involved in local politics where I can actually make a difference. And I want to one final shout out to Mr. Hoffman next to me, who is the best. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
I agree.
That's Mr. Cody.
Oh, man.
I gave him my Skittles.
Right, hey, I guess that flask Mr. Kobe gave him didn't count for much. Mr. Sprague, your shadow, please.
I object. I say,
I want a review.
I personally object. I think Mr. Roy Garcia is the best.
I have to deny that. Definitely Mr. Don Ryan.
Here we go.
Well, I hate to sound like a broken record, but I'd like to start off by personally thanking my teachers who chose me to be here, Mr. Aldridge and Ms. Davis. Thank you very much for choosing me. It was a great opportunity, and I've learned a lot, and I thank you for that. Also, I'd like to thank Mr. Sprague for having me. Great conversation, lots of future, I think, in getting to know him. And also, I'd like to say thank you all, everyone on the board, because it's being here has helped me realize how much influence and how much determination it takes to do this job, and really how much impact you guys have on our entire community. And it's just, I second Lisa, enlightening. It's really amazing to be here, and thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, you're present for the evening. Ethan Clemens.
They cover pretty much all the bases, and I don't want to go over what they said 2 times, but I'm not going to say that I don't have an idea of what board meetings are like. I did watch the second Matrix movie, and and they had a board meeting, and it was very similar, but unlike the Matrix 2 though, these people are not stuck up, uptight, mean-spirited, or anything like that. When I came here, I learned that these people, are fun. They have fun. They let loose sometimes. It's not all, strictly business when they come in here. I mean, even when y'all disagree, it's friendly. It's ridiculous. Like, no, I don't know. I just don't see the same way that you're seeing. But I coming here, I see that they're intelligent people and kind people who are behind everything that goes on in our school. And, when you're in school, it can kind of feel like you just, what are they really doing to help us? Like, where are we, where is the influence coming from? And coming here, you see where it comes from. So next time when I'm getting mad about, there's no ketchup in, what's it called, because that happens too much. But, or the chicken tenders are, just sloppy. And it's like, why? It's obviously because all of the money is going towards, our education, and I'd rather have a good education than a good meal. Sometimes, half the time, 25% of the time, I'd rather have a good education than a good meal. And, that counts for something. And I really do appreciate this experience. On a serious note, I really do appreciate this experience. It's opened my eyes. Leading, it may not be my best thing, but I do like to do it. And, it kind of refines those skills that I've learned in school, and, helps me see where I'm at personally. And it also shows me the students that I'm around, the people that I have that I'm competing with. And, it kind of gives you a kind of like a kick in the butt, really. Step up your game. These are the people that are beside you, because these are some awesome students. I don't even feel half of a student than any of these students. And I just got lucky and got the president's position. So
it's a gift from God, son.
Amen. But I do want to thank my teachers, Mr. Curtis and Mrs. Moncla, and I would like to thank Mr. Dixon, who was out there. He stuck with me this whole time. I noticed, watching, and thank you.
Yeah, but he's getting paid for sitting out there. He's the only one getting paid.
One more thing. I was told the person who is in charge of the cafeterias around the district is here. I will say that I'm a product of 13 years of school lunches, and I'm very proud of what we've been able to do, so thank you. I'm still in shape, so thank you.
I was happy at first, okay? Middle school.
Yeah.
Middle school, and then y'all just changed stuff. What happened? What happened?
The man got a bad chicken nugget. I mean, let's deal with it. Okay, before I let Ethan finish, I think, and I'm going to take an executive privilege here, I think what I hope the public sees tonight is another example of why we are the best district in the state of Texas, if not in the nation. When you look at such a diverse group of students with, different backgrounds, different interests, probably different beliefs, with one common goal, and that is student success and personal success. And if this is our future, I can tell you it looks pretty dang good, and I couldn't be more proud of what we're doing in our classrooms and in our administrative building and even in our board meetings. We are leading the state and the nation, producing quality students like you've seen up here tonight. And so I will pass that on to now to Ethan, and he will close us out for executive session.
I have one more comment, I'm sorry. One more comment before I go. We all going to college next year, and I just would like to open the let y'all know that the Ethan Clemens Fund is now open. If you are, willing to give any money to help me get to college, please do so. It's vital. We're struggling out here. Okay. Now, can I have a motion for closed session?
Move to go to closed session.
Mr. Hoffman?
Second, Mr. Covey.
Second, Mr. Curtis?
Covey?
Covey, I'm sorry.
All right, I'm not even here tonight.
I'm sorry.
Don't let them get you down, Bill.
Men children give Skittles to it, come on.
Don't let them get you down, Bill.
That was muscle memory. I'm sorry, Mr. Curtis, from my speech. But,
Bob Curtis, who seconded it?
Bill Curtis.
all right,
All those in favor?
all those in favor? It's unanimous.
Read that.
All right. The board will now adjourn to closed session under Texas Government Code Open Meetings Act, sections 551.071, oh my lord, 551.072, 551.073, 551.074, 551.076, 551.082, 551.083, and 551.084. For the purposes stated in the posting of this meeting. If the board determines that any final action, final vote, or decision on any matter considered in the closed session is required, such final vote, action, or decision shall be taken upon the reconvening of this meeting in open session or at a subsequent meeting of the board in open session, after proper notice has been posted, of course.
We will, for those that want to stay, we'll come back out and adjourn at that point. If not, good night, and thank you for attending tonight.
And shadows are dismissed.
And shadows are dismissed.